Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, and I just ruined my cup of coffee for the stream, so I guess the abyss is going to have to wake me up. It is May 16th, YC127, and this is the Evitor Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome. No, it's funny that drat means a bitter but otherwise tasteless cup of coffee, because I forgot the coffee part. I have like a coffee machine, and I did all the stuff. I put in all the powders and the stuff, and then I ran it with just hot water. So, and then my coffee machine is old, so then when I tried to make another cup of coffee, it just shut off as it was trying to make the coffee. I don't know if it's because it's overheating or whatever, but it means that I don't get a second cup of coffee today. But I do have my Fetto hanging out in my empty cup to say hi to everybody. And we are outside. Oops. Hold on. Let me get rid of this. We are outside of this is a disrupted Stargate. That's what it called. Overheated your coffee modules. Need more nano. See, this is going to be a good, we can tell this is going to be a good day, because I can't even remember the name of what this thing is. The disrupted gate. No. So the other day, I think maybe it wasn't even in stream now that I think about it, but we have gone and seen the disrupted gate on the Triglavian side a few times, and there was a question of what it looks like on the Edencom side, so that inspired me to go check it out. This is the Edencom, so this is in K space. I'm currently in Caldari space in Anada, and this is the disrupted gate that used to go to Como. Typical gal coffee makers by Caldari. Okay, okay. This is why I'm not that upset that you didn't get the giveaway. No, just kidding. All right. Okay. So speaking of giveaways, I do have a plan for today, because I went to go be like, okay, well, what if I'm going to give away a skin? What skin should I give away? I'm doing this Vagabond today, and today's a very special day. I have never run this Vagabond before. This is a new fit for me. It's very curious. I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't watched streamers doing it. So I wanted to check it out. We'll talk about it more in a little bit, because I have, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion point. But I was trying to figure out like what would be my giveaway, and then I stumbled upon something. I went, okay, Vagabond. Do I have any Vagabond skins? Do I have a Vagabond skin to give away? And I realized, like, the Dawn of Liberation skin, that comes from Liberation Day, I believe. And then, of course, Liberation Games comes from Liberation Day. That's fine. These are both event skins. Probably worth a lot now, since they don't do Liberation Games anymore. And they were rare drops even then. But, like, this skin here, Vagabond Solar Brilliance, I legitimately do not remember where I got this solid gold Vagabond. Nor do I, like, in all of my looking for it, I tried to do some basic Google searches. And it is, not only there's no information about when this thing was originally introduced into the game, it does have a purple diamond, so it seems like it would have been from the Nest store, but I don't see any, I couldn't find like a Plex pack or a sale or a deal that involved these solar. This is a Mimitar ship, for the record. But this idea of the solar, what is it called? The Solar Brilliance skin. Like, there's a couple of options. Solar Brilliance. Actually, there's two. There's the Tornado Solar Brilliance and the Vagabond Solar Brilliance. And if I went to Jita, well, we can just go, hold on. Eve Tycoon Market. If we go Vagabond and we look up Solar Brilliance, we see that, like, the lowest sell order is 5 billion, with the highest buy order is 400 million, give or take. And we can see that it is consistently sold for over $1 billion. And I have no idea where I got this thing from and or where it was originally introduced into the game. And that's pretty rare. It's pretty rare for me to not be able to remember where it's from. So the last piece of this is that I already have my favorite Vagabond skin, the Heart Surge skin. I love getting a... Oh, is that what it's from? Now I don't want to give it away. No. Hold on. It looks like it might be a... Like, hold on. Solar Brilliance skin gift? Nope. I can't find it. August 2024. Hold on. Eve Collector's Edition Solar Brilliance. It is the Collector Edition skins. Well, shit. Now I don't know whether or not I want to give it away or not. Well, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. So, well, okay. In that case, we could go... Let's see if we can do something else. Yeah. I know. It feels bad now. Now I feel bad for bringing it up. But I will say, so the Vagabond Liberation Day skin is worth 500 million. And the Vagabond, what was the other one? Man. It was Dawn of Liberation. Dawn of Liberation is 189. Ah, all right, those are bad. I need to find a good skin for the giveaway for the day. Let's find... We could do scope skins again, I guess. Skin. I know. I think I have an idea. So... Ashtarothi custom skin? You know what? How about this? We'll do that. Is that a good prize? Where like if you win, I'll make you the skin of your choice and pay the Plex to make it? Is that a good one? It's not as like immediate gratification unless you want to hop into comms with me and we can make it together like live on stream. But I'm more than happy to do that where you win, I'll make you a skin and I'll pay. Okay, great. We'll do that. We'll do that today. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good to me. All right. If anybody disagrees, now is your time to bring up your disagreement. Because so far, survey says good to go. So that's what I'm going to operate on. Why is my phone going off so much? Nothing of value. Your AI assistant. Your AI assistant for learning. Thanks. I don't care about that. All right. Okay. Sounds like we're good. How am I ever going to get rid of all these skins that I have then? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Today, we are wrapping up Abyss Week. This does not mean this is going to be the last time we do Abyss. In fact, I think, doing the Abyss has been a lot of fun this week. It's reminded me how much I like doing the Abyss. So I think that we're going to have probably, a fairly frequent, I hesitate to say like once a week or whatever, but like we'll be doing Abyss days at least to, a little bit to round up a day if it's a slow news day. Speaking of slow news days, today's a pretty slow news day. So we don't have much else to talk about besides this situation or this fit. we do have the Eve Keynote, but I do want to show off this fit and talk about it a little bit, but I'm going to do so through Eve Workbench. Now, Eve Workbench, I've been putting each of the fits from this week. If we go to manage my fits, you can see, like, here is my Ikitursa, here's the Cerberus, here's the Stormbringer, and here's that Trainer Gila. All 4 of them are published in there. And of course, we had the Gator and the alpha-friendly HFI. Why did the Gator get a -1? Wait, why did the Gator get a -1? Who downvoted the Gator? This thing dunked. I don't know. Either way, so, you know, all of those fits are available to you, but I definitely wanted to show off a little bit about Eve Workbench, made by a friend of the show, Lioneer. Not just because he gave me a prize today, but that did remind me of it. I won't lie. But so, you know, we can see the fit itself here. You can go to the market breakdown to see the price breakdown. I will say that my version of it, I did buy a set of medium grade clones, mid grade clone, except for the Omega, because I left this acceleration control in. And then you can export it by just copying it and importing it into your Eve. You can copy to clipboard also from up here and push it to Eve if you've logged in, which is pretty cool. One of the things that is newer to Eve Workbench, though, is the fact that Eve Workbench is basically now almost a replacement for PIFA. Not complete replacement, mind you. You can't be like, oh, this specific target and all this sort of stuff. But for my purposes, it basically solves the one big problem that Eve Workbench had, or that you know, the in-game fitting tool has that you would normally go to PIFA for, which is the ability to apply your weather. So now I can go here and say, okay, it's going to be a gamma level 1, 2, or 3. Now, when they say 1, 2, or 3, they don't mean tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 for like the Abyss. There's 3 different strengths to the abyssal power. You can actually see in, nope, that's not the right one. Nope, that's not the right one. On the cheat sheet, which was on the other page, you can see that, like, it says that tier 0 through tier 3 has 30 to 50%, and then tier 4 and tier 5 has 50 to 70%, T6 is 50 to 70%. So, like, that, I don't remember where the break off for 2 and 3 is. Oh, no. So, like, basically, the 3 tiers are 30%, 50%, and 70%, right? So when you do tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you could get a level 1 or a level 2 effect. And if you do tier 3, tier 4 to tier 5, you could get a level 2 or level 3 effect. Going back real quick, so we're going to be doing level 3s to start with, so we're just going to assume a level 1 effect, but it updates all of the stats, which is pretty cool. Also, I can turn on and off the module. So, like, these resistances are based on the assault damage control being on, so I can just turn it off, and now or like not off, but, you know, not active, and it updates the stats. But here's the thing that's slick. This is why I felt like showing you guys this, just in case you've been to Eve Workbench but you didn't know, or you haven't been there recently. Check this out. There's ammo in the cargo bay, right? I can load it, and it shows my DPS now based on my stats. That is awesome. Good job, Lioneer. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well done. It's slick. He didn't sponsor me. I didn't get paid to say this. It's just worth it. It's so good. And now this is tied in. Like, I can come down here, and I rated this, or no, I didn't rate this. I didn't make this one. This one is rated a level 5 gamma. However, and this is kind of interesting, I can go to... Oh no, hold on. I thought there was a way for me to go straight to the Abyss tracker, but I think it's only one way. So Abyss tracker is now linked to to Eve Workbench. So I can select Vagabond here, go to Weather, Gamma. It's amazing on PC, but mobile still needs work. I can push that, put that to him as feedback. Allow cookies, filter result. It's these. Right. So this is the fit on here, or more importantly, I can come over here and see which ones of these have been run. Shoot, I messed that up. I can choose Vagabond, I can choose Gamma, I can hit filter, and we can see that of these builds, so this one right here has been run in the Abyss 857 times, and then I can go inside and see that this is the fit that we were just looking at. In fact, if I hit Eve Workbench, it brings us back to here. Oh, phooey. Never mind. I did search it up. They weren't directly linked. That's right. Look, I'm trying. But if you come down here, you see that all of the ones that are being run are tier 4. So even though it is rated as tier 5, all of the runs that are being run with it, I've seen, are rated as tier 4. So I'm going to just assume, or I'm going to be sticking with tier 4 today too. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. It's pretty cool. There is a link down below for this build. Specifically adding ammo to the guns, the drop down covers the circle that you have to apply to. I mean, that makes, well, that drop down, well, I don't know. I just dragged and dropped the ammo. I don't know. I didn't ever try to do this. Oh yeah, that works too. I dragged it from the cargo bay. I don't know how mobile works though. I would understand that would be more tricky. But the point is, I really like it. Cool. That's the closest thing to news I've got for you guys today. Mobile won't let you? Well, yeah, that makes sense. Mobile's going to be more tricky. Okay, so, but I've never actually flown this build before. I do want to show off a couple things about it, though. It does use 425 autocannons, which I found some builds, and this was the heavier autocannon, so I stuck with it. It has the 10mm afterburner. Now, this has a shield extender and double shield booster. This breaks all the rules, okay? But it sort of makes sense, and we'll look into why. The lows are going to be that damage control, which is just going to give you some resistances, plus some emergency resistances. Tracking, which is important since you have no web. And triple gyro with some thermal and explosive resistances to 425, yeah, to help out. So what's going on with this tank? So the Abyss, like, this is a place where I've seen a couple of times a bit of there's a combination of the need for buffer and the need for reps. And Not Henry really nailed it home, which is that you have to always consider the upper end of damage output, which would be the wrecking shot from the Charybdis Tyrannos from Karen, which does, I can't remember off the top of my head, but quite a bit of damage. So, you know, if you don't have any, if you were relying all on reps, you know, I like to say that the only hit point that matters is the last one. If your reps are holding, then your buffer doesn't matter, but your buffer does matter when something can just blap you out of the sky. So the idea here is that you have enough hit points to take any given hit and reps to repair them. Now, also, not only would I normally say you shouldn't have an extender and shield boosters, I normally say that you want to have, if you're going to power up your armor reps, you're going to have multiple armor reppers. But if you're going to power up your shield reps, you're going to only have one shield booster plus shield boost amplifiers. And this is normally true. There are a couple of cases, especially in the Abyss, where you go with dual reps. But in this case, this dual rep shields makes a lot of sense because they're ancillary shield boosters. Now, we haven't done our tanking episode recently yet, so just as a heads up, like shields and armor are different in many ways, but both of them have an ancillary module, the ancillary shield booster and the ancillary armor rep. These are, by the way, both getting upgraded versions of them, I think, in the expansion with the new data sites. They're going to be expensive, but, you know, that's kind of cool. And they can be mutaplasmid. Either way, the point is that they are different, and this confuses a lot of people. You know, ancillary shield booster takes cap charges, ancillary armor repper takes nanite paste. Like, what's going on here? Why? What? You can fit multiple ancillary shield boosters, but only one ancillary armor repper. What gives? So basically, both the ancillary shield booster and ancillary armor repper are attempting to use a secondary material as a way of augmenting the weakness of that tank type. Okay. In the case of shields, shields give big bursts of hit points very quickly at the expense of a lot of cap. They're expensive modules to run comparatively, which is why you usually want to oversize your shield booster, but then also augment it with stronger power to further augment the amount of hit points that you get per cycle. And in many cases, you actually get to the point where you are boosting, like, let's even look at this. This is boosting 678 raw hit points per cycle, right? And I have 5,000 raw hit points. So it's repping about a tenth, a little bit more than a tenth, maybe 15% of my hit points every single cycle. And it cycles every 4 seconds. So in 8 seconds, it can heal a fifth of my hit points at, you know, in just a big burst, right? Armor reps aren't going to do that. Armor reps are slow, continuous workers, right? They cycle all the time. You like to keep them running all the time. They don't rep that much, but they're very power efficient. That's why you'll often have 2 armor reps, like with the Ikitursa that we had yesterday. So what the ancillary shield booster does is it takes that big cap consumption of the shield booster and instead uses cap charges to pay that cost. So now, since this loads 9 Navy cap booster 150s, I can cycle this 9 times without consuming any capacitor at all, because the capacitor cost is paid for by the cap boosters. Now, if I try to run it without the cap boosters, the other side of these ancillaries is that if you try to run them without the augmentation, they're actually less good than their basic counterpart, right? Their T2 counterpart. So in this case, an ancillary shield booster actually will require more capacitor than a standard shield booster of the same type. However, that cost gets consumed by the Navy cap boosters instead. The armor repper version, armor reps are very cap efficient, but are relatively anemic in power comparatively to shield boosters. Therefore, armor reppers will use nanite repair paste to augment their repping power, making ancillary armor reps stronger in how much they rep than Tech 2 until they run out of nanite paste, in which case they revert back to being somewhere between Tech 1 and Tech 2, I think, if I remember correctly. Might be worse than Tech 1. I can't remember off the top of my head. So they are different, but in both cases, they're using some secondary product to augment that tank type's weakness. All right. So to get back to the shield booster thing here, the reason why we have 2 shield boosters, hopefully, isn't because we need 1,200 hit points per 4 seconds, right? By running both of them. The key here is that the other half of ancillary boosters is that they take a long time to reload. We can see that this thing takes a minute to reload, right? Ancillary armor reps are the same way. So, and again, when they're not loaded, they are significantly less efficient. So the goal here is to never run more than one of these at a time. Seems like a lot of mental load for a lot of little gain. Well, what this allows us to do is fit an oversized afterburner, an oversized shield booster, because this is a large shield booster on a medium ship. It's one size category too big. But if we just went with standard shield boosters, we'd wipe out our cap. So we go with ancillary, so we get the big shield boost of oversized shields, but we don't have to pay the capacitor cost. And we actually see this a lot in PvP as well, because shields are really good at upfront reps. So with this ship, we have the buffer to try to survive the actual incoming damage as it comes in. And we have these 2 shield boosters that we can bounce between. Its base HP boosted was worse than T1. Thank you. We can bounce between these 2 armor or shield boosters to try to always have a shield boost that's ready to go. You can run this T6 on drugs. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that like this guy is rated to T5. There is versions of it that's T6. The only difference, it seems, between T5 and T6 is whether or not you have good implants. And I did get the crystals, so in theory, this could be able to do T5, T6, no problem. We're not going to get that spicy today. Again, we will get more spicy in the future. This is a showcase week. Also, what we're showcasing here is I have a new fit, and I don't know how to fly it. So we're going to start out with some T3s. Actually, now that I think about it, I want more than this as far as T3s go. So we're going to go back to Jita, apparently. Now, another thing to talk about while we are on our way is drugs. So this has 2 drugs with us. We have Synth Drop. Drop is designed to increase your tracking speed. And Blue Pill is designed to increase the amount that your shields boost, right? Synth is easy. Synth doesn't have any drawbacks whatsoever. Have I considered a copacetic instead of the buffer? I haven't considered anything. I was told, I saw that people were running this fit and thought it was cool and went to Eve Abyss Tracker and saw that this was the version that had the most runs, and I downloaded it, and now we're trying it. That has been the extent of my considerations, besides trying to evaluate like what is actually here. But like how to make it better, not even there yet. That's the point, is that I'm trying to show you guys kind of a raw version. I've never actually tried this fit before. This is the last day of Abyss Week, so I wanted to show that off. But the point here is that this Blue Pill does have penalties, right? It can reduce my explosion velocity, and it can reduce my capacitor capacity. It doesn't have to. Basically, I do get the bonus, but I might get the penalties. And there are skills. Neural enhancement. So we see biology increases the duration of the bonus from the booster. So this is important because what that means is that if I roll a bonus and I roll a penalty, the bonus will outlast the penalty because the bonus gets extended, but the penalty does not. And then I also have neurotoxin control, which reduces the severity of the effects. So basically, the effects will be reduced. The negative effect will be reduced by 25% at neurotoxin control 5, and neurotoxin recovery makes it so that there's a 25% less chance of it rolling a negative result. Now, there's one more piece to this where I'll show you once we get to once we get to G to 4.4. Now, higher tier Abyss is going to all but demand higher tier drugs. And drugs' negative side effects are often really bad for the... Yeah, hard shell might be good too. are often really bad for the thing that it's supposed to boost, right? If that makes sense. So in this case, we have capacitor loss and we have explosion velocity penalty. This is clearly like designed to be like, well, if you're a Caldari ship, or, well, honestly, a lot of shield ships are missile ships. So it punishes your missiles, and a lot of shield ships are cap reliant because they don't all have these ancillary shield boosters. They have normal shield boosters, which are very cap hungry. And so this capacitor capacity penalty is designed to directly attack the very kinds of things that would want to use blue pill in the first place. So there is a trick to this. Let's first of all grab some fierce gamma. And I'm going to grab another couple of synth blue pill. Or, I mean, standard blue pill. And I agree. Hard shell is awesome. The agency drugs do not have any negative to them. So you just use them for free, and they take up a different slot than the other drugs. They're in a slot by themselves, so you can only use one agency drug type at a time, but you can use like a blue, you can see that the blue pill is a booster slot 1 and hard shell is a booster slot 11. So they can be stacked at the same time. Great. So now I'm going to go over to the Paragon station, because it has a clone bay. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick that people, like higher end Abyss runners, will do. And this is true, like this is maybe useful to you in PvP. Basically, if you need the power of a drug and you're willing to throw money at a problem, you can get the effect of the drug without the penalty. And I'll show you how. Now, obviously, the stronger the drug, the worse the penalty, right? So we're just doing a tier 2 drug. It's not going to have that bad of a penalty. Hey, punch. Well, but no, we're not doing plunder yet. Okay. So now that I'm in Paragon Station, I can open up the clone bay. And I don't have a clone here, so I'm going to have to go down here, and I have a clone in Inglenart that I don't really care about, so I'm going to destroy this one. And I'm going to install one here. Now, this is what's important. Even though I have a clone jump available in 16 hours, I can still clone jump if I'm in the same station as it. That's point 1. So watch, I can go like this. I can go like this. I disembark from the ship. And has to wait till the session timer's over. Boop, pop. Now I'm in this clone, right? I'm a blank clone that I was just in. And I can just swap straight back immediately for only 900,000 ISK. No problem. Great. So now I have this clone here. And I can swap back and forth all day, because swapping in the same station that you're in does not affect and completely ignores the clone jump timer. Okay? So now, oops. Just so we can see it clearly. Up here in the top corner, there's no timers right now. But if I go here and grab this blue pill and take it, boom, I have, oh, I didn't get a penalty. I only got the positive effect. Lucky me, right? But for the purposes of discussion, let's say I did get the negative, right? Well, The thing is that these boosters, like not all boosts, all of the normal drugs, not the accelerators, not expert systems, but standard drugs, all of the normal drugs, the agency drugs, the synth drugs, all that stuff. When you get potted, when you die, it clears the drug, right? Well, turns out that also happens when you jump clone. So let's say this did have a penalty. I can just jump. And look, the timer went away. And I can just jump back. And the timer is still gone. It's totally gone. So what that means is that, like I said, if you're willing to throw ISK at the problem, you can take the strongest drug that you want to while you're in station and then check to see if you get the penalty. And if you do get the penalty, you just hop into your other clone, hop back, and try again. And like a lot of mission runner or Abyss runners will do this with the highest end Abyss, that they'll get like a strong booster and take it. And if it doesn't work out, then they hop out, hop back, take it again until they get it. And then once they get it, then they know that, oh, they've got an hour or whatever of Abyss to run. So we're just going to consume this again. No penalty again, because I'm awesome. And let's get out of here. We've got an hour to run the Abyss. Well, it is standard. And I have neurotoxin, whatever, 5. So it isn't that lucky. Yes, high-level runners are tweakers. That's true. I gotta find a system that's a little bit lower. What level system do you need for a tier 7 or tier 7, tier 4? Flag the suspect if activated in point A system. So we got to go to a point 7 system, which is what we're doing. Yeah, the skill reduces the chances. That's if we go back to the skills here, neurotoxin control. Neurotoxin recovery, negative side effects chance bonus, -5%. So I have a 25% reduced chance of getting a negative side effect. And the base side effect chance is 20%. So I've only got a 15% chance of getting a negative side effect per use. And given I was trying to demonstrate side effects, it's actually not necessarily a good situation. So, all right, I'm in a 0.7 system. Admittedly, I am directly next to Jita, which is a silly thing to do. But today is a silly thing to do, silly day to do things. So I'm going to warp to a celestial. Just planet 11 is 47 AU away, and I'm just going to call this Abyss 1. This is how I start building my Abyss blueprint or bookmarks. That coffee, man, we're all going to regret that I didn't have that coffee. Me more than most of us. I'm going to make this blueprint. God damn it. I'm going to make this bookmark in the middle of nowhere. In between 2 celestials. I ruined my cup of coffee this morning, so now it's been feddoed. All right. And if I go back to that location, you're at a sleep study? Well, I mean, it's better off. At least, like, it's a good reason to be tired, I suppose. So we can see that this, where I'm at in the solar system, I can't, hold on. we can see that I am kind of between where did I come from? Ah, screw it. This is a good enough spot. All right. Enough thinking. Let's just go. Let's try tier 3. I've got my 2 shield boosters. And by the way, this is a thing. If you're doing one of these shield boosters, I recommend right-clicking and going to set auto reload off. And in this case, I'm also going to set auto repeat off. Because basically, I'm thinking of this almost like it's closer to like a potion, right? When I need some health, I'm going to activate one of these. And that's it. I don't want them running all the time. I only want to, because each one of these only has 9 cycles. So I want to be able to get the most out of it. I don't want to overheal. So I want to activate them when I want to use them when I activate them. Hi, Dutch Gunner. All right. Ready? No, I'm not. Let's go. Good luck, have fun. Hell yeah. All right. Firewatcher, Upholder, Warden. Something tells me speed is a problem for me. So we're going to go with that. My range is 21. So I need to wait for them to get in range of me. That guy is getting close. The key to using a good shield tank is just to not panic, right? You got to know how much you heal per shot. Uh-oh. Maybe I should panic. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to check my shield reps here in a few seconds. I want to get down to about 60%. Ooh, a Perun Mutaplasmid. Or heavy muta-adaptive armor repairer. Excellent, excellent. I love it, I love it. I'm going to hit 1 pulse of a shield rep just to see how much I get. Okay, okay, so not as much as I thought. We're going to pulse it again. And we're going to pulse it 1 more time. Okay, so now I'm back up to high. Now, obviously, the lower I leave my shield, the more my passive regen is going to help me out. That's true. Every single time you use, well, normally with a cap recharger, you always want to keep it overheated. Overheating here will just make them cycle faster, right? Which will get to reload faster, but I'm not really worried about how fast I'm overheating or how fast I'm cycling, because I'm not even using it as fast as the cycle allows. So which part of it am I needing to overheat? Am I talking about, you're talking about the guns or the shield reps? Now, the other piece of this fit is I have not enough fitting room. I really would like to get a tractor unit on this thing. And now I'm going to be reloading this other one, which puts it into a very long reload, but I've still got the other one started. Does it have a 10% hit point bonus when overheated? Okay, great. Oh yeah, you're right. It does rep for more. Got it. Harrowing Vedmak is going to be my scariest thing on here. With there is starvings and stuff, but that harrowing is damage, and damage is spooky to this fit, as far as I've been able to figure out. I'm going to overheat my afterburner for 1 cycle to see if I can get out from the range of these webbers before they can fully web me. You notice how I waited for the webbers to get close to me, And then right as they were getting within range, I overheated my afterburner, and it wasn't enough. So don't listen to me, I guess. I'm going to cycle this one cycle. Once we get this VedMac done, then we'll go after... honestly, my cap, I'm not that scared about. So we'll do... we'll do the tangling next. $11 million? I'm going to actually keep my drones out and fight with them. Keep an eye on them. Might have been a mistake, because honestly, running out of cap is kind of spooky, and being slowed down. I am taking extra damage for being slowed down, though. It's a hard balance here, man. Oh, why did only one drone end up being out? That's weird. Almost done with this shield booster. All right, he's dead. Going after the next... going after a starving. I'm going to just alternate between starving. So this one now goes into reload. So assuming I can make the next minute off of this other one, then I'm still good to go, right? Now we go after a tangling. Oh, I have a ghosting too. I probably should take care of that next. Reload this. Maybe I should put auto reload on. Undecided at the moment. Is it get so boring? Well, that's, I mean, like, if you tune it up, and if you, what I like to do is, you know, if you need to, I evaluate all the different pieces of the room, see whether or not there's any extraction nodes I can get, etc. I mean, it's certainly, compared to other activities that it is in relationship to, I'd argue that it is significantly less boring than level 4 missions or ratting in nullsec. Like, what activity that it is comparable to is less boring than it? Not this ship, it's not boring. So far, this is a lot of thinking. That's true. It's also why I like the Ichthyrsa. Yes, with a Gila, you can make the Abyss boring. Don't get me wrong. But that's on you. You did that. You made a choice. My capacitor's all the way already back up. That's nice. Control R, Shift R, reload, and return. With the last drone dying. Dang it, I should have left my drones out, I guess. There it is. Now I reload. Yeah, Ichthyrsa is great. Striking Kikimoras are a higher priority than the Damavix. And then even then, or sorry, the Drekavix. And even then, I'd say that the Starving Damavik is going to be a higher priority even than the Drekavix. Drekavix are actually a big trap in the game. Like, they're battle cruisers, so they look scary, but they're so little impact compared to most of the rest of the rats in the room. you can pretty much leave them for last. We're going to go after the Starving Damavik next. Oh, wait, hold on. I haven't finished off the Kiki yet. $2,000, not great, but, you know, whatever. But if you fly direct, they're wicked. Yes, you can. If you fly direct, there's a wicked cool Hornet skin that you can get on Skinner. That's true. We can look at it when we get back out. I love flying a Drek. Don't get me wrong, but in the Abyss, the rats that you fight, the Dreks, not as spooky as you would think. Vagabond and the triple retry are two of the other fits that require a lot of maneuverability. I mean, I like the Ikitursa. I like the Nurgles. Nurgles are great. Will there be a conduit SFDS tutorials if trick salvage is needed? We will, yes. In fact, starting today, if you get into the Discord after this, if I can get enough people on, I want to start looking into doing dual standings fleets in the Abyss, or sorry, in Pochfin. We did do one the other day with just some destroyers. It was fine, but we want to refine the process. I'd love to be able to do it in cruisers. But the idea is that like we basically throw away ships to go into the Abyss to be able to get some standings. Or not the Abyss, Pochfin, to get some standings. What's needed for the fleet? We're going to look into it. We were using Algoses, but you know, Cormorants are also often used. I think I'd like some Executorers. Yeah, the Gila that I was flying the other day, like anytime you have a ship with a mobile tractor unit, I think that opens up a lot of opportunities, because then you start really having to pay attention to the extraction nodes. If you go look back at my videos where I'm playing as the Gila or the Ikitursa, how many of my times I'm evaluating the whole room where all of the extraction nodes and stuff are in order to figure out my maneuvering. Like, the key here is, just like anything else in EVE, boredom is a mechanic that's telling you that it's time to step it up a notch. There are absolutely fits that will make it so you don't have to take in certain things to consideration. But then there's other fits that will make it so you have to take things into consideration. It really has to do with what you want. So if you wanted an easy Abyss run, so then you got something that's brain dead, and then you find it boring, well, you've done that to yourself, which means you can fix it yourself. By making different choices. I saw that there was a Vagabond fit that did have a tractor beam on it, but like I said, this was the one that was like the most gotten, and like this fit is so unusual compared to what I would normally consider to be acceptable Abyss fits that because like I will be honest with you, I don't like Abyss fits that require charges like this. This is not a fit that I would use on like a normal basis myself. I was not about to go past the barrier. Thanks, though. Your sub period, like to Eve or to the stream or what? Remember? I don't understand. All right, so that was, if we take off all the drugs, and this 17 million for a T3, not bad. Yeah, its per hour gets a bit hurt. With a copaesthetic. What is a copaesthetic? Hold on. Oh, a shield boost amplifier. Shield recharger? Ah, the amplifier. Where do you use this, though? Where do you put this? What do you take off to put on the copacetic? Oh, instead of the extender. Okay. It's also worth noting that all three of these mods are oversized. That's one of the reasons why like the fitting is so tight, is that 3 of its modules are designed for large ships instead of medium ships. But yeah, that's interesting. That will, well, so that would allow you to have a tractor beam, but it probably would also require you to use the large ancillary shield booster more often. Also, since now I'm out of the abyss, I can right click and go repair all modules to repair these with the nanite repair paste. Whoa! Hey! Punchinello with 20 months as a producer. It's been, I can't believe it's been that long. Thank you for being here all that time as both a supporter and a friend. In fact, a friend and a supporter. I'll put the friendship first. Good dude. Dutch Gunner, I was in local with you earlier. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. I am on the clock with this drug. Let's go ahead and pop. Nah, we'll just go in. Large shield extender over the tractor. Yeah, that feels very greedy. Oh, Charybdis. Charybdis. So we're going to spiral in. I don't like the orange cloud that seems to be there. So we're going to overheat our afterburner. And there is 2 entanglers. Okay, great. So actually, I'm not going to... Ooh, boy. So my goal is to try to get past these 2 first. So they're going to come in at my side. And my goal... Ooh, boy. My goal is to wait till they're at about 15 kilometers. Or 20 kilometers. And then now I'm going to get ready to overheat. Overheating the afterburner now to get past them. So my goal is that now my afterburner is high. They've gone, they're now behind me. And I'm through them and I'm past them. So great, perfect, exactly what I wanted to do. Now these Scylla are behind me. I completely beat their webs. They couldn't catch me in time. I win. I'm a winner. Everything's great now. The blue cloud sucks, but it's okay. I'm past the webs. We're going to get in on Charybdis. She's not going to hit me anymore. That's going to be like the last shot that she hits, because now I'm within 30. And you know what? I'm going to start killing one of these webbers. I forgot to start shooting. I was so excited, I forgot to start shooting. We're going to go a little bit tighter. And actually, I like to cut opposite side. Once I get past the gate, I cut to the opposite side of Charybdis. So that way, if necessary, I'm pushing her towards the wall. But I think I'm going to get to the other side of her before she gets to the wall, which is perfect. Exactly what you want to see. And that's what I was wanting to show you guys yesterday, too, where I cut to the side a little bit farther than normal, so as to force the webbers to come in at a 90-degree angle. And then right as they were about to get in within range of me, boom, you hit the afterburner, so that way you skate right past them. They never catch you. You never get webbed, and you get directly on top of the Charybdis. And it doesn't matter if they web me now. I'm too close. And in fact, if they web me now, it actually helps me because it means I have to orbit less manually. The Charybdis is just going to try to run away from me as I kill it towards the gate, which is exactly what I want. I'm going to do one more shield boost because these Scyllas are doing damage to me. I could, now that the Scyllas have caught up with me, I'm actually going to switch off the Charybdis because the Charybdis has no natural regen. So now that I'm in position on the Charybdis and I don't really care, I'm going to start damaging these Scyllas because they're closer to me. They can take the damage now. And look, I only did 3 shield boosts complete total to get under the guns of the Charybdis. And now she is just screwed. Perfect run of Charybdis right there. Good to see it. By the time Charybdis dies, we're going to be back to the gate, not against the wall. And now there's only Charybdis to kill. I did miss the cache, which that can happen. Although now I can just go after the cache now if I want. By the time Charybdis is dead, or by the time anything happens, the cache will be like the Charybdis will be dead, and I'll be able to get the cache really quick and then get in. It's always best to have a tractor beam right there, so that way you can just grab the loot on your way past. But that is how to beat Charybdis. Like, that's the best version of it, I would say. Yeah, no. It's not the one with the XLASB. I have that one for event running, and it's fucking hilarious. It's like literally like a third of your shields get regened every time you pulse it. It's hilarious. All right, we are going to reload that and jump on through. Tesseras suck. Snarecaster makes Tesseras worse because the Snarecaster can make it so that the Tesseras can catch up with me. Remember, Tesseras are the battle cruisers that you want to kite more than anything. I hate taking damage in this fit, so we're going to want to kite it for sure. So we're going to kill the Snarecaster first, so that way I don't lose control over my speed and therefore range. And I'm going to kite off to the side to make sure they keep these Tesseras behind me and kind of clumped up. The worst thing they can do is figure out how to pinch you. These field weavers are repping them, but like the reps are pretty mild comparatively. Test kills all drones. Tesseras can kill retributions before they can even realize that they're in trouble. This one's within 21, so we're going to grab it. I'm now just kind of orbiting at a distant kind of 20. I'm doing it manually with manual piloting because there's 2 of these guys that I want to make sure to keep at range and not get pinned down. But right now, this is kind of working. I do agree that this would be a good fit. This would be a good candidate for a tractor beam, or a mobile tractor unit, rather. So remember, it can't really damage me until it gets to within at least 12 kilometers, and I want to be within 21 kilometers. So I'm kind of balancing that. I got down to about 13 kilometers. I'm balancing that by like making it so now by going this way when it's here, it's going to be able to catch up a little bit. So I'm trying to give it an opportunity to catch up, but not much, because now it's coming into the side of me. So it's going to start going up in distance now because it's falling behind me just in time for it to hit 12 kilometers. So it never quite gets within range. If my explanation of my piloting is useful to you, make sure to like the stream, share it with a friend. I'm trying to explain all of my thought processes, not because I think that I'm so smart or whatever, but more that like, hopefully some of this stuff helps in some little way with your own piloting. Of course, the most important thing is just get out there and start practicing yourself. long as you don't have Yellow Jacket plugged, Gila drones are fine, I guess. 2.5 million. And I didn't even have to use a single shield boost charge that round. We are at 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Boosters at 30 minutes. Leshaks. So with Leshaks, you want to burn in, once again, overheat afterburner. The goal here is to get in there and get as much damage on as possible and get under their guns as fast as possible. You cannot panic. They will try to hit you. They will try to tangle you. They will try to newt you. They will try to do all kinds of things to you. You cannot panic. You must get in there. There is a spiral. Like, it is good to spiral. I'm not going directly to an approach, but I am also just getting in there on a very tight spiral, if you want to consider it that, until I can get within range of damage, and then I get damage on as fast as possible, and I'm cutting into the middle of them, so that way I keep them all at pretty close range, but they are going to start missing me, and I'm killing them. Look how fast this room is. These Leshaks actually start out in very low health, but they start repping each other right away. So your goal is to get damage on target ASAP. Every second you wait is time that they're able to rep themselves. Do not attempt to kite the Leshaks. That's how I lost a Gila. That's how a lot of people lose Gilas, to be honest. The Leshak room is trying to control you. You need to control them first. Yes, and if necessary, you can always hit, like, that would be a good opportunity for the panic button. But the problem is that in that case, I'm not afterburning because I want to reduce damage. I mean, that is true. But yes, you can lose. I lost a 2 billion Esquila in a Leshak room like that. But the assault, so like a Marshall room, for example, would be a good example for when you need to use an assault damage control, because the upfront damage is so high. The Leshak room is specifically a race to see who can get control of the situation faster. I have a 30 million Leshak and Dodi contract. I have 4 more. What? Okay. Triple starving ate my 2 billion Esquila. That can happen too. All right. I don't understand what you're trying to say. When in Rome, anyway, you contract. Are you contracting me something? Oh. Okay. Well, I do want to show off real quick. If we go to Paragon Hub, view more, right back, all skins, we're going to look for the, what was it? It was even the 6 starving in a T6 cannot kill a Gila. If you do it right, absolutely. If you mess it up, they can get control over you. There it is. I think this is it. This actually came from like an internal contest to use the new pattern. The new pattern that came with the last event. So, you know, you can see there's this, like, the little pincers on the edge of the wasp nose. This is explicitly not a bee. If you want it to be a bee, you can decide it to be. But if you're not a bee, it is a wasp. So either way, but that's one of our illustrious skindustrialists, Punch's latest design. But that said, I plunder the abyss, and you plunder... Well, actually, I guess I make you new skins. Exclamation point plunder to get the chance for me to build you a new skin. Sorry, I'm getting distracted real quick. Okay. Plunder my Plex stash. That's right. Actually, thank you to Havoc. Honestly, this giveaway is brought to you by Havoc, who contracted me 150 Plex the other day, which is what's allowing me to do this giveaway for you guys. So, thank you to Havoc for that. So now I need to repair again, but I'm kind of tired of using my nanite repair paste, so I'm just going to warp to a Right-to-Roo that I have docking access on. You got to take it this time. Magic, I guess. I'm officially done trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Now, I've run a few tier 3s already, and it may seem boring or whatever, but I'm going to keep running tier 3s because I haven't necessarily run into every single encounter that this ship it can fight. And I certainly haven't run into every single like combination of stuff. Like that Leshak room was spooky, but it would have been a lot more spooky with tangling Leshaks or starving Leshaks or blinding Leshaks or even renewing Leshaks. You know, some of these rooms have been kind of spooky. I haven't seen the angel room yet. So because of that, and I'm still just learning this ship, the key is that I want to keep running level 3s because the goal is I got to know what scares this ship, what can kill this ship before I step up to T4s, T5s, T6s. Because if I don't understand the exact threats to this ship, then I'm not going to fly it right when I get to that threat at T5. And that's when you die. So I'm going to make another bookmark called Abyss 2 on my way out, just so I can start having another bookmark that's out of position. So now I've got that one. I'm just building up my Abyss, I keep wanting to say blueprints, bookmarks for when, for later, whatever. So yeah, I am making some pretty decent ISK for this, but I'm not doing this activity for ISK. Because remember, I'm doing this activity to learn this ship. So I am going to be able to step up to T4, T5, T6. Tangling Kikimoras are going to be the most dangerous, followed by this normal Kikis and the starving Damavik. So, Tangling Kiki. There's a gray cloud. I don't really want to deal with the gray cloud, so I'm just going to go straight down and wait. Kikis are coming in fast and hot, so we're just going to start shooting early. So I need to kill the tangling Kikis, then the starving Damavik, then the striking Kikis. That's my bet. Although, man, what's going on? Those striking Kikis, they must have gotten in the gray cloud or something. I'm going to have to keep an eye on their distance. Yeah, they got gray clouded. Because I'm able to kill this this starving Damavik basically for free, which is nice. And then I'm going to swap to this striking Kiki. It's going to be the next one to get close to me. Oh, they went out of the gray cloud. They're screwed. I'm going to go up a little bit because I want them to start catching up. And now I'm going to dive closer back into them and go after this other striking. Because they're starting to get to a point where they can ramp and do damage, so I want to get a little bit closer so I do the damage faster. At least I assume. Still haven't gotten that tangling to start actually tangling me, which is nice. Gonna kill it though, now. And start heading to the biocache. Once again, we double click next to the biocache before we send the drones in, so that way when it blows up, we don't stop moving. And I just grab the loot, hit enter, double click, keep on going. I'm gonna start my reload of my shield boosters now, although I guess I should have used it a couple more times before recharging, because now I'm at 63% shields, which is not ideal. Another frontline battleship. So Drifter with an entangling. So once again, I'm going to go kind of off to this angle here to try to get those Webbers to be off, to kind of come in at a right angle to me. I'm going to keep an eye out when they hit, when they hit 20, I will overheat. These are confusers, illuminator, confuser, good. So the entangler's at 11, the entangler's at 12, good, excellent. I'm past the entangler now. Now it's time to get in on the drifter. I can start shooting the entangler. I can turn off my overheated afterburner, get a tighter cut into the Charybdis. I don't want to overheat my reppers anymore because there's so much heat on my mid slots. I'm just going to let it ride. I'm now within the I'm within the range of Charybdis that she can't hit me anymore, and I'm pretty close to the gate, which is perfect. Now it helps that she got caught on this rock, I'm pretty sure, but she's mine now. I own her. I am the manager. She's asking to see the manager. I am the manager. Hey, Morcar, you're very welcome. Although I'm Ashtarothi. Aster sounds like the head of a Goonswarm, which I have been confused with before, especially now that he's in charge, and I say my fellow Empyreans, not Imperiums. Some people confuse me with Ashter. I am not. Or Asher, rather. I know that wasn't what you were saying, but it just reminded me. I'm glad to make your day go by faster, though. And by all means, like, I appreciate all of your guys' contributions to the conversation. Gives me stuff to talk about. Which, I mean, as you just heard, people really appreciate it. So giving me things to talk about helps. You need to change that. Yeah, I need to change that. I'm not the head of Goon Swarm. I don't know. I'm cool. I think Asher can do his job, and I can do mine. I have heard that Karma Fleet is recruiting, though. And honestly, the Imperium is, at least in the modern day, a very solid null block to be part of. We've had several people within our group join the Imperium. In fact, somebody, one of my previous like top officers, when he was finally done with HiSec after years of, well, faction warfare and HiSec with me, supporting me, he went off and joined the Imperium and became a CEO there, and he's doing very well. Wish him the best. Although I've got friends in several different organizations. But look at how much, like, people talk about how scary Charybdis is, and I just, like, own her. Own her ass. Oh, I'll shoot goons. I'm not goons. Drifter battleship that has a strange inertia. I once saw... Yeah, so the rats can't go through the boundary. They'll hit the boundary like it's a solid wall. Also realize that the Gray Cloud was added later. So the original design of the Abyss didn't actually have the Gray Cloud, like the rats responding to the Gray Cloud. That's true. Yeah, they used to have like recruitment scams. But if I remember correctly, a lot of their recruitment scams have been shut off ever since they've transformed it, like with Karma Fleet and stuff. Like the changes to nullsec in like FozzieSov and beyond, or whatever, however you want to call it, really like encourages you to have as many people as possible, and so they stopped doing recruitment scams as much. Just if somebody asks you to contract them all of your stuff because they're going to move it, and you don't have a good reason to trust them, don't. That's not a goon thing. That's a broad generalization about Eve. Like for other rooms like Angels, the only way for the cheap buffer hawk to strike is to burn backwards and wish that the rats overshoot outside the boundary. Is that true? I didn't know that some of the rats could go outside the boundary. I know Charybdis is really good at getting pinned against the wall. I also know that the Angel room was added later. And the Angel, okay. Well then, that's fair. I don't know why the Drifter battleship hits it so solidly. If it's different than the others, I don't understand. I don't know why that behavior is different off the top of my head. Well, again, so like the Gray Cloud didn't exist at first. The Gray Cloud, the Angel room, the Santra room, the Concord room, T0, T6, all these came later. I think all of those actually came in the same later. First, they added Frigate Abyss. Then they added... Actually, I don't remember whether or not all that happened at the same time as Destroyer Abyss. I think all that happened at the same time as Destroyer Abyss. All right, and that is it for this T3. I definitely have enough for one more. I've got 11 minutes left on my booster. So let's try to get one more in. That was 12 minutes. So my last stream, I'm not going to have the booster. but we're going to just jump straight in there. Actually, let's live a little dangerously. We're going to jump straight in. Actually, I ran out of ammo too. I think we're done for right now. We got to head back to Jita, dust off, fix some stuff, get some more ammo, roll new drug, and then head back out. Send me your ISK. I'm a legit doubling service. Experience from RuneScape days. Hell yeah. I've earned all my money doing the trade route. So, you know, doing trading. And now I want to pay forward my blessings. Send me ISK. All you have to do is show me that you trust me. Just send me ISK and I will double it for you. Read my profile for details. Read carefully. Other people's mistakes are your benefits. Did I do a good enough job? Was that right? If anybody sends me ISK right now, I'm keeping it. I'm just throwing that out there, just in case there's any curiosity. If you send me ISK because of what I just said, I'm keeping it. There we go. Well, you know what? I lied. I lied to all of you multiple times. So let's see here. Because of that. Oh, yep. Malin. Sorry. I lied. There you go. I doubled your ISK. Booyah. See? Honest. Hold on. Actually, you can see it in transactions. Yep. See? Look. He gave me 1 ISK. I gave you 2. Honest. Pure. Just ISK doubling service. That one's mine. That one's mine. You didn't follow the rules. I said once. Oh, Felix. Yeah, sorry. That's mine now. You know what? Screw it. Nah. You know what? I'm mad. Crazy. We're crazy around here. Let's keep doing it. You never know when I'm going to stop. You never know when I'm going to stop. Yeah, send me 2 billion. That. I know when I'm going to stop. We'll play 3-card Monty all day. All right. Get repair quote. Repair all. Three ISK. Oh, nope, that's mine. Game over. Hold on. Who was that? Draco. All right, Draco. Draco, if you want to, I'll give it back to you. I'm not doubling it though. The problem is that a lot of the ISK that I have right now is actually ISK from the fundraiser, so it's not technically mine, and it needs to go to Babaraga. So I'll give you back this billion if you. Okay, great, awesome. I'm keeping it. It's going into my Babaraga fund. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Oh boy, oh boy. I plunder this abyss. You plunder my skin collection. Exclamation point plunder for your chance to win. I am closing this in like 1 minute. So if you hear this right now, it is your last chance to do exclamation point plunder. Otherwise, as soon as I'm done buying shit, I'm gonna close it up and be done. I mean, yeah. We're gonna grab more hail, because hail never fails, baby. All right, I've got hail. I've got filaments. I've got sunshine. All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and take standard blue pill. See what happens. Oh, can I not? Oh, wait. I can't because I still have it running. All right. We're doing this. Wait, the button to pull is gone again. I found it. I found the button. I found the button, guys. I learned why I was dumb. We're all good now. We can proceed as normal. Mela, did Mela actually get in? I need to double check. Mela did not. Yep, Mela, you're already in, so you're fine. Burek, you were the last Tekka. No. Mela got in earlier. I can see them on the list. Okay. Pulling the winner in 3, 2, 1. In fact, there's your evidence. Boom, rigged. All right, Mela. You can either hit. Do you want to hop on comms now and we can work on a skin together, or do you want to figure it out afterwards, not on stream? That's your choice. Yep, exclamation point rigged indeed. It would be fun if I did like a second raffle immediately after the first, where the code word was exclamation point rigged. After? All right, great. What's your in-game name? Or are you in the Discord? Can you actually? Yeah, I want you to message me, post your name here, so that way somebody else doesn't just be like, "Hi, I'm Mela." The winner gets a carbon. That's right. I do love the Vagabond. Just whenever you get a chance, Mela, go ahead and give me your in-game name, so that way I can get that tracked. In the meantime, so I like this ship. I think we're going to fly it again more, but I think that now is also a decent time to pause it, or to not, to be done with this version of it. I sent you 3 ISK. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Never mind. Got it. Okay. We'll sort that out. Hit me up after show, and we'll get that. We'll sit down and work on a skin for you. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Excellent. All right. So now I would like to transition to the second part of the stream, where we cover the EVE FanFest keynote. I'm giving the fit for the ship and going to try the Abyssal. I saw Corrupted doing C6 live. Yeah, this ship is apparently super good, and like just this small demonstration of it, I agree. I still like a lot of my other fits that we showed off this week, but this is definitely a very lively, spicy ship, and it does feel like it has the tools that it needs to solve a lot of the problems in the Abyss. So it doesn't surprise me at all that people have been using it in T5, T6. We will probably be examining it more, but we're already getting close to 2 hours on the stream, and I do want to start covering the FanFest stuff, or the Frontiers keynote, and yeah. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Again, these are not necessarily trying to show you the hardest, craziest Abyss. That'll come later. This is just to showcase kind of the options that are available within the thing. Am I going to show off the skin, or is it going to be private after it's made? Well, I'll have the design. I mean, I'm going to save the design, so I'll show it on stream after it's done. Sure. Okay. This is the keynote from FanFest for Eve Frontiers. We've covered basically everything else from Eve FanFest that's juicy this week and last week. There are some panels that we may cover like next week or whatever, but there is honestly quite a bit of interest in Frontiers. People can say otherwise, but there are lots of people in the Discord, lots of people having fun with it, and it is a very interesting game, both for... real question is, will Ash print the skin for anybody else? I'm going to leave that one up to Mila. It's their skin. They want it. If they want it to be a one-of-a-kind, then they can. Otherwise, no. So, this should give us some good insight, not only to where this game is going, but also CCP's thinking about things. So let's go ahead and jump into this keynote. '07 more car.
Take your first step into Eve Frontier, a bold new chapter in the Eve universe. We'll pull back the curtain on the setting, the big ideas, and the vision driving this exciting new adventure. Please put your hands together for CCP Overload, CCP Goodfella, and CCP Jotun.
Good for Alton Hovery to be willing to support Eve Frontier, not just New Eden. I mostly want to know more because I'm not buying in blind. That's a great, and that's honestly a big reason why I'm interested in watching this, because obviously there is certain levels of NDA still on it. I can't stream it or anything like that. And to be honest, that has led me to not play it that much right at this moment. It has a lot of potential, but you know, I being a content creator am focused on things that I can create content for. So I find this particularly useful because this, you know, everything that's here is open and public and we can discuss it and think about it. If you are curious, though, I did do a complete reading of the white paper previously, discussing everything about Eve Frontiers, its plans, its strategies, like where they're going with this, what their thoughts are, etc.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. It's so lovely to see all of you. I am CCP Jotun. Thank you for coming to the Eve Frontier keynote. As per Eve Frontier tradition, we were finishing this thing about 15 minutes ago, so we'll see how it goes. There's plenty of room up front. If you don't have anywhere to sit, please move on this way. Also, I should take these off. My God. They're Polaroid sunglasses. All right, so, hello. I'm CCP Jotun. I'm the community developer for Eve Frontier. We're excited to have you guys here today. We've not been at FanFest before, so this is new for us. We're going to talk through some things today. It's very exciting. This should be for people who are Frontier players, people who are Frontier curious, our lovely friends in the media, and all Frontier adjacent people. The hope with this presentation is that we want to...
SM Hobo says, since it's early, I hope they go into first person with Frontiers. Everything they're doing with occlusion and flying your ship just wouldn't work with a natural Eve perspective. I can tell you for a fact that that's not the case. You know, in the same way that with the Eve perspective, I was able to keep the Drifter battleship between me and the gate to force her to go to a specific position. I have times in Frontiers where I was taking a little bit too much damage, and I flew my ship behind a giant asteroid, cut off my prop, so that way I drifted back there, and they missed the whole time, giving me time to recharge some shields, and my cap and stuff before hitting the afterburner again, or the prop again, or whatever it was, and going out from behind the rock. So, absolutely was able to use the occlusion mechanics given my camera port.
Answer some questions, answer a lot of questions, but also ask many more, and then leave those unanswered for the sake of mystique. We want to talk about where we've been.
I do want, Jeff says there's a video on the same YouTube channel where they go into more depth about how they created the physical Eve Frontiers Galaxy, which is pretty interesting. I am interested in that one too.
Where we're at right now, and where we're going out into the future. So, What the fuck is Frontier actually?
Oh my
I'm
God, he
glad you
swore.
asked, but first of all, I do the question asking. Calm down. Frontier is a massively moddable, multiplayer, online, space, survival, horror, role-playing game. What does any of this mean? Well, what it means is that the Frontier is a house built on a graveyard. It's the echo of a death rattle of something that died and turned to dust so long ago that none remain who were there to ever hear it. It's a tomb, mysterious and cryptic, filled with peril and riches in equal measure. It is a galaxy that has consumed far greater civilizations than yours and will do so again. You are a speck of life that exists for a moment to scratch and claw together something that resembles a society, but the mountains you climb are made of corpses, and the oceans you cross are stained with blood. If you have the strength to survive, you'll be rewarded with power and authority beyond your wildest imagination. But if you slip and fall, you will join the endless multitudes of screaming dead who have gone before you. Whatever decisions you make, both they
I missed the R. Damn
and
it.
their consequences are solely yours. Wealth, power, death, despair. For the purpose of this thing, we're doing Founder Access right now, which is a cool, this is my baby. Don't let them tell you that this is CCP Goodfellow's baby, it's mine. We're excited to get our community more involved in the process of developing a game. We want to get people as close to the development process as possible. And we're doing that through Founder Access, where people can get involved. They can have one-on-one conversations with developers. They can pitch ideas. Not all of them are great, but a lot of them are. And they can just, it's a very chill atmosphere. The whole purpose of this is to bring people as close as possible to that development process. So founders get, unique cosmetics, game time, that sort of thing. But they also get a host of other benefits, including the aforementioned co-development. They get engaging streams, including a lot of sound issues. They get direct developer feedback from some of the finest minds in the business. Don't read that one, by the way. And of course, most importantly, they get pictures of my cat. And
all this
great.
is true.
And so much more. We're going to talk to you a lot today about what you're going to see. You're going to hear from CCP Goodfellow and CCP Overload here in just a moment. But before then, I want to show you this next video that was a collaboration between us, a lot of players who submitted footage, and of course our sound mastermind, CCP Rolls. Please enjoy.
Yeah, this was a real event. I just realized, I bet you this is going to get me fucking copyrighted, aren't I? I'm going to turn this down and off the music. It's still going to probably get me copyrighted, but anytime they play this sort of stuff, I need to just stop it. If you're watching this after the fact, it's probably going to have no sound for that reason. So tired of getting copyright hit because CCP uses music.
Ruda.
He's still here.
So this is actually what it looks like in the game right now. You can see there's no overview. That's the big scary thing. Those are battle cruisers, I think. So these are really interesting. So this is like a good example of what makes, like, that goes back to that Frontiers, like the occlusion thing. Oh, those are battleships? Okay. So these things here are actually assembled by players. They put them out there. But the question is, like, what do these things do? They don't do anything, right? They're just physical objects in space. These are actually things, these are landscape for you to dodge behind or move or maneuver around or force people to maneuver around in order to fight you. You can have other things like turrets and stuff, but like this just kind of shows you just in a single picture the difference between EVE Online and Frontiers in the fact that people would build these giant blockades not because they do anything themselves, but because they get used as terrain. And then in the background there, you can see other structures, player structures that are being built. I think these are turrets. It would be really cool, Malcolm. But who knows? Well, the UI is very unpolished at the moment. So yeah, everything in this picture is built by players. So all these different things, there's little factories down there. There's the, what are those things called? Hedgehogs? I don't know if it's too performance heavy, but like EVE wasn't built around that as a concept. So it'd be a fundamental change. Yes, they built the sun. That's correct, Punch. That's clearly what I meant. Thank you for making sure that was clear.
I mean, it's pretty fucking cool, right? All right, I am pleased to now introduce to you and invite onto the stage our game director, CCP Goodfella, and our product manager, CCP Overload.
Hello.
Good, bud.
Hi, everyone. It's exciting to see you all here today. I think it's some sort of cruel and unusual punishment to have presentations the morning after the pub crawl, but yet you're all here. It's lovely to see you all. I am CCP Overload. I'm the product manager.
And I'm CCP Goodfella, game director on EVE.
No, the 3D space doesn't have a floor or ceiling, and those weren't too, well, some of those structures were huge. Not all, the one that I paused and I said everything built there was by players, like that's the thing, but like, and there was some perspective there. But like some of those bigger structures are definitely not a player, and that huge thing that they kept showing was actually a rat. Like that's a bad guy. They fought it. I don't know if players have actually killed it yet. They've made a go at it like 2 or 3 times so far. And if I remember correctly, the Moon Eater has so far won.
Frontier.
So, we create virtual worlds more meaningful than real life.
I know they failed at least
I'm
once.
not quite at the point where I'm quoting myself like
succeeded.
Hilmar, but I'm not above putting pictures of myself in presentations. It's a lofty goal, but what does it mean? What makes a virtual world meaningful? So to understand where we're going, we first have to understand where we've come from. For many of us, the relationships that we make in virtual worlds have intense meaning. The friendships of the elation of a hard-fought victory, the hit of a crushing defeat, or maybe even the laughter when something goes awry. All of these contribute to our sense of belonging. For many others, being able to point at an event in the long history and say, I was there, invokes a deep feeling of pride when achieving something greater than the sum of the individuals. Never let anyone tell you that these experiences are anything less than real. There is no such thing as an artificial experience. We see this in action all the time. 70% of EVE Online players report having made a friend as the result of playing EVE. Many of us here, myself included, look forward to FanFest, not only for hearing about cool upcoming things, but to reunite with friends or finally put a face to a familiar voice. How many of you are familiar with this area of space?
Providence.
Another thing that makes virtual worlds meaningful is the development of unique cultures. ProviBlock and their not read, don't shoot policy developed not because of the rules of the game, but despite them. And in doing so, they developed a unique culture in New Eden, which lasted for 19 years. It's longer than some real sovereign nations. We are building civilization here. It is the essential ingredient for a society. This is a quote from Aralis, once the leader of ProviBlock. He's talking about a digital civilization in a virtual world. Of course, this wouldn't have been possible without the hordes of third-party developers building tools, platforms, systems, libraries, all to facilitate these unique cultures. The read-only ESI has around 2,400 active applications, generating approximately 350,000 requests per minute, all to support you building your digital civilizations. You can even see the original ProviBlock kill-on-site checker from when they exceeded the limits of how many people the game would actually allow them to set red. So I think it's fair to say that EVE Online is built upon third-party development. A city made of wood is built in the forest. A city made of stone is built in the mountains. A city made of dreams is built in heaven. This is a quote from way back in the development of EVE Online when we were setting out the foundations of the lore. And I think it's quite appropriate when we start talking about EVE Frontier and EVE Online. What we aspire to do is build a new game in the EVE universe. And using the city analogy, if EVE Online is like Rome, built using the technology of the time, what we're looking to do now is create New York. We're just starting to build New York. From small beginnings come the biggest things. We don't want to lose the character of Rome by trying to build them both in one. We would then gain a compromised New York. We want to make them two distinct cities.
Can I just say, just as an aside, that, like, I am trying so hard to not find it galling that CCP is now pumping up the ESI and how important it is, given how many years they all but abandoned their API support, how completely, like, the whole Crest thing, it got delayed and then got pushed off until the point where it was basically replaced before it was even finished. Like, they have completely ignored. The ESI has been successful almost in spite of CCP and only maintained by a few loving devs that are willing to give up their personal time or 20% time or whatever to its maintenance. And so for them to be like, yeah, this is why EVE is so great. It's like, I'm so glad that you've recognized that now. But having been somebody who's been fighting with them for a decade to get them to respect the API, it's just like, oh boy. Oh boy. Yep, the ESI is the reason why EVE Online, or a big reason why EVE Online has done as well as it has. That's a good point. I'm glad that you've come to our side of things. A lot of the people who used to work at CCP when they ignored the API don't work there anymore. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, that could be, that's just a component of time. And the respect for the ESI is a very, very, very new thing. Like, this FanFest is the very first time that CCP has been talking about the ESI in as if it was like a main thing that they're actually putting work into. It's the first time that there's a reason why every other feature, including features that came out this last year, are not in the ESI. I guarantee you that there are tickets for invasions, for insurgencies, for the skyhooks. All of those have tickets for ESI support. None of them have been picked up until suddenly now that they're trying to promote eFrontier and they're kind of opening up these ideas of things that they suddenly realize, oh shit, this is actually important. It's not just a bunch of desperate players attempting to cobble things together with the poor support that they are given, because there's a couple of chat rooms in Slack and in Discord where people can kind of figure out what's going on and try to influence the few developers that you can bring to give a shit about it. I'm not that bitter, I promise you. I'm just glad that they've come to the right side, and I hope that this continues. But boy, I cannot stress enough how much CCP has basically ignored the API system. Yes, CCP developers have blue names in local.
I need your clicker, CCP owner. Thank you. Okay, so inspired by EVE Online, CCP Overload was talking about, inspired by the EVE community and inspired by the wider EVE universe, we have been creating EVE Frontier. And today, we want to give you insight into where we are now and where we are heading in the future. Or like CCP Jötunn said before, what the fuck is EVE Frontier? These are the 3 pillars of EVE Frontier, the pillars that we are aligning all of our development effort towards. We want EVE Frontier to be grounded in science because it makes for an intuitive and immersive experience. We want EVE Frontier to be a cruel survival experience, an experience of mastery and mythical adventures. And
Jeff says they're seeing a lot of impressive work, players doing their hackathon builder stuff in Frontiers. Jötunn gushes about it all the time. Absolutely. Yeah. No. I'm not, like, it's good. Like I said, I'm trying not to be galled by it. It's like, just, I recognize that this is my experience from trying to fight with CCP to get them to care, all the way back to, you know, when I was in PAX back in like 2013 or whatever. And CCP Fox 4 was a brand new, just got hired by the company and was working on the MPE. And I talked his ear off about how important the ESI, or well, at that point, the API was, and how people need to care about it. Because, so, my history is like, I was an Android developer, and then I joined Aileron Robotics because Aileron Robotics was made by Marcel Devereaux, who also worked on Aura, which was at the time the top Android app for EVE. So, like, I've been very tightly connected to the third-party development world of EVE Online forever. So, like I said, I'm glad that we've gotten here. I'm so glad that we've gotten here. But it's been a painful time before this. And I'm so glad that the culture has shifted. I'm so glad the culture has shifted. And if that's the one benefit that EVE Online gets from EVE Frontiers is the fact that CCP fully respects the ESI, I think that the majority of the player base will never fully appreciate exactly how monumentally good EVE Frontiers has been. If that's the only thing it does, if that's the only improvement in EVE Online, is the fact that it changed the way that CCP views the API, then that is huge and will be game-changing. Mark my words, in 2 years from now, we'll see how well the ESI has been supported and how much that support has changed the way that we play the game.
We want the players of EVE Frontier to be building a broken world. And then in the long term, what we are trying to create is the ultimate moddable space MMO. And as you, EVE Frontier at the core is all about survival.
Yeah,
you build your base in space in this massive universe. Your skill in piloting a ship matters in this dark, hostile world. And literally everything is at stake in Frontier's hellscape. And as you play EVE Frontier in the future, these are the features you will encounter, these are the experiences you will see as you play Frontier. It's a massive universe. We have an active character progression. EVE Vault is your ability to interact with EVE Frontier on the go. We have an open source engine, immersive space visuals, a spaceship survival simulator, an open economy, micro and macro camera and controls, an active mining experience, a dark forest type of detection, stealth and exploration gameplay, a deadly Leviathan world bosses, dynamic feral ecosystem, dark forest combat, topological ship fitting, stunning spaceships, a great third-party development environment, realistic physics engine and immersive in-game events.
So I gotta say, I've seen a lot of this stuff already in the game, and that's cool. Dark forest means, of course, like basically that's the absence of overview, the absence of perfect information, the need to have to go somewhere in order to scout it out. Very good. The one that stands out to me as kind of the most interesting is this dynamic feral ecosystem, because that implies that there is a relationship between the rats and the space. So this reminds me of way back in the very, 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 very beginnings of MMOs, to the very first game to have ever been called an MMO, Ultima Online. Ultima Online had a dynamic ecosystem. So there was a certain amount of like plants that a place was considered to have, and then that could generate or like spawn the like rabbits. And no, it does not. Spawn rabbits and, you know, deer and other stuff like that. And then based on, well, Ultima Online is still around, but not this ecosystem that I'm describing. So the idea is that like prey animals would spawn based on the resources within the area, and then the predators would hunt the prey, and that would affect how much they could grow and all that stuff. So there's this actual living ecosystem in Ultima Online when they first started. But then the players came in and butchered everything without thought, without consideration for ecosystem, without anything. They just destroyed everything within their path for experience and loot. And so eventually Ultima Online developers had to remove the majority of the ecosystem system, process, because the players' interaction with it just eradicated it completely. So the idea of a feral ecosystem, whatever that means, where the idea of like where we're ratting might grow up or whatever. And this is a big thing about EVE Frontiers, even right now. And I'm not 100% sure, but I've gotten the feeling that there's a lot of dynamic nature to the game, and there's a lot about like not all space is created equal, and there's real stuff going on when it comes to the resources that are available, the rats that are available. It's hard to tell because like on the surface, just interacting with it, it kind of feels a lot like EVE, where there's just anomalies here and there or whatever. But the more I've looked into it, the more I get a feeling like there's something deeper going on. And obviously this is still early days, so potentially more complex systems will come later. But that's why I'm saying, like, I'm calling out this particular dynamic feral ecosystem, because the feral, basically the idea is that the only living things in the universe as we are exploring it are these feral rogue drones that have kind of taken over the land. And so that they represent the majority of the rats, the danger within the universe. And so, yeah, like that's one of the pieces that I think is going to be the most interesting, because I don't know, I'm a systems guy. If there's a deeper systems going on, I really like it. And there's a lot of dynamic nature to the universe itself, including the physical reality of the universe, the fact that the systems themselves move, pieces move within the universe in a way that is really, really cool, especially for long term.
All of this comes together into the EVE Frontier experience in the future.
What's up, Habit?
Now, we are not there yet, and we will continue to develop the game over time. And that's what we've been doing. We have been developing over time as much out in the open as possible, because we firmly believe that getting feedback as early as possible is by far the best way to create a good experience. And we started in December 22 when we said hello to the world. This is what we've been cooking. And since then, we've been developing in these phases. And over to you, CCP Overload, to tell us how super well Phase 4 went.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so as CCP Goodfellow mentioned, we've been doing these phases. Phase 4 in September 24, it was a big...
I mean, that's fair. I would say, Mr. Ebon, they have done open trials recently. I think they've done at least 2. So I would pay attention to that. And if you want, I'm going to be covering those, or at least talking about them when they're available. Because that's a good opportunity to jump in there and just see what it's all about. Although realize that it is a social game. So jumping in there during those times means that there's going to be an influx of people. Those people may not know what they're doing. They also may not have long-term goals, so they might be more willing to do, shitty stuff, whatever. But it is a good opportunity to at least play around and see where the state of the game is. I'd love to start streaming it whenever I can, or at least showing off pieces of it, but we'll see. It is pretty simple right now, for sure. But, like, the thing is that it's about what we build. right? Like, it's about the societies that we build. So there are very complex groups. There's some larger groups that are actively doing some pretty cool stuff, building their own Stargate networks, building their own housing in areas with defenses. Yeah, we are going to get a lot more over the summer. Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm just saying, like, realize that you are getting a very particular slice of the lens of the experience by jumping in during, like, a free weekend. That's all I'm saying. But, like, while the game itself is relatively simple, EVE Online and EVE Frontiers has always been about what we do with relatively simple pieces. And that's where the complexity comes from. So, you know, one of the big things about EVE Frontiers is that there's so many solar systems that it really offers the opportunity for people to really go out and claim an area of space of their own and develop it as their own home base, which is why I'm kind of interested in the idea of decoupling the construction of ships from the actual stations, the NPC stations, towards the player-built stuff. Because, like, even the player-built Stargate stuff is amazing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can play it right now. I can play it right now.
Big one for us. We just completed a monumental upgrade of the Carbon engine from Stackless Python 2.7 to Vanilla Python 3.12. That's 1.5 more Pythons, I believe. This was 4 million lines of code in Python and 1 million lines of C++ code, a multi-year project. We are also in phase 4 running for the first time on a fully cloud-native server environment, meaning we could scale horizontally, essentially limitlessly. So, with hope in our hearts and a glint in our eyes, we opened the door, and thousands of you logged in over the first couple of minutes, and then it all started kind of going wrong. Turns out a few thousand players will break things that we wouldn't have even thought of, and you do it all very quickly. This is just a 5-hour window that we're looking at right now. If we zoom out a bit, you can see it was a little bit chaotic. Yeah, chaotic is probably the politest way to describe this. You think daily downtime is annoying? How about hourly downtime? But every crash helped us pinpoint exactly where we needed improvements. Network code, memory handling, scheduling systems, all were strengthened after every issue. And amazingly, despite this horrendous experience, people were continuing to log in and play.
This is a survival game, as you can see.
So, we took a month and we relaunched phase 4, and I'm pleased to announce that thanks to the work over this period, we've now shifted away from hourly downtime, not to daily downtimes, not even weekly downtimes. The longest we have run EVE Frontier without a downtime right now is over 3 weeks. Stability means longer sessions, less frustration, and better immersion. And it's your continued participation and feedback which helps us shape the next phases of our development.
I have a clicker now.
You have a... Oh,
yes. Upgrade.
I thought I had the power.
Okay, so in December, we launched Founder Access. This is the time we went always on. In my notes, it says now just this is CCP Jötun's baby, but I remember what I was going to say. But this was the time when we wanted to really build out the founders of Frontier. The people, like CCP Jötun was talking about, that enjoy the journey of seeing something come to life. The people also that enjoy being in a community of like-minded people that are exploring this massive universe and all of the mysteries of Frontier. Speaking of universe, over to you, CCP Overload.
Yeah, so the universe of Frontier. Sticking closely to our grounded in science product pillar, and with our 2 tame astrophysicists, we set out to simulate a galaxy with over 120,000 star systems centered around 3 hypermassive black holes. Currently, EVE Frontier is live with a reduced version of this, a mere 22,000 star systems. This hasn't stopped the riders of the Frontier galaxy.
He's just said riders with a D, not writers, just in case with this accent. In EVE Frontiers, your player is called a rider, not a capsuleer, but you ride, like you're a rider of a ship, as in you are riding on a ship or a basketball? Bicycle. Yes, only 22,000 star systems.
This hasn't stopped the riders of the Frontier galaxy beginning to colonize this world. In this player-built mapping tool that we're looking at now, the orange lines that you can see are player-constructed stargates, forming highways around a disconnected galaxy.
That is actually, so a big piece of the game is the fact that, like, there's a lot, most of the systems are not connected via stargates. And every ship has its own jump drive, so that way you can jump based on how much fuel you have to another location. So you get big ships that have big jump drives that are efficient, that are able to jump to somewhere else, and then they can build a Stargate on their side, and you can build a Stargate on this side and connect them and have a real Stargate, which is, that by itself is mind-blowing. But what's even crazier is, because the whole universe is simulated, the stars themselves move. So there have been times where they've built Stargates, and then the next day, or like one day rather, those Stargates shut off because the two stars that the Stargates are connecting have drifted too far away from each other for the Stargate to be valid anymore. That's so cool!
And we can hear more about this universe from CCP Relativistic.
To bring Frontier's universe to life, we focused on ensuring that different regions of the galaxy offer distinct visual styles, structures, and gameplay opportunities. In order to achieve this, we have taken two main steps. An end-body simulation which determines the spatial distribution of the solar systems of the galaxy. This simulation smashes 3 galaxies together and gives us a unique and interesting galaxy structure where 3 supermassive black holes dance around its center. The second one are the astrophysically inspired procedural generation rules, which fill our vast galaxy with celestials, infrastructure, and content. These rules leverage the simulation outcome to achieve variety in solar system structures. While all the stars in our simulation are described by the same set of attributes, each one features a distinct combination of values which informs the procedural generation of the contents within the solar system of that star. These generated attributes can then feed into gameplay systems such as resource and NPC distributions to make the world feel alive and filled with diverse, visually unique locations that each offer distinct challenges and opportunities for exploration, fighting, or building your base.
It's not just the physical creation of the universe that we are...
It is currently pay to access. Yeah. Eventually, the acquisition of fuel is going to... There's a whole way it gets financed and whatnot. But at the moment, you pay in to get into the access program. And then once you have access, you can play as much as you want.
Simulating. We're simulating thousands of years of human history in a way that responds to the physics simulations and keeps the macro-level history consistent while letting details change. The ancient civilizations whose ruins now crumble and rot across the galaxy leave untold relics and mysteries yet to be discovered. Underpinning eFrontier is the Carbon engine.
Like I said, they do have free windows when they open it up to everyone. And I do generally announce those. But yeah, I know that they have talked about having like a subscription or whatever, but the big key is that their crypto, the Eve coin or whatever, is going to be tied to the acquisition of the crystals. Right now you can get crystals by just buying them from the market, like they're seeded. And then from that you can extract exotic matter, and that creates fuel, and fuel is used to do everything. Right, so there's this natural consumption of resources in everything from warping to construction to whatever, and that's a big piece of the whole puzzle.
There should be a Carbon engine. Is this the Carbon engine? No, we'll go back one. There's normally a logo of the Carbon engine. As mentioned earlier, we recently upgraded the Carbon engine from stackless Python 2.7 to vanilla Python 3.12. Bringing 15 years of upgrades into a code base as large as Carbon was a massive task, but has allowed us to significantly accelerate individual developer velocity, allowing them to spend less time fighting the systems and more time building out exciting and beautiful content. This Python upgrade will be making its way to EVE Online later this year. For
That's
more and
wild.
increasing
Wait.
developer velocity...
That's a big point, right? Because they've hummed and hawed about it. I don't know how much he knows what he's talking about, but the Python upgrade to 3.0 or 3... Python 3 is happening to EVE Online later this year is pretty monumental. We've talked about this a few times. I find it kind of strange for that to be dropped by the Eve Frontiers dev. It almost makes me wonder whether or not, like, he may not know. I will say that so far, in the history of Eve that I've been watching, anytime CCP has said that we are going to be doing this major upgrade to the engine within the year or this year, they have missed it by at least 2 years. That, I mean, like, or at least 1 or 2 years. So like the upgrade to 64-bit, the upgrade to, well, I mean, just several of the different upgrades that they've done in the past. DirectX 12, that was the other one. You know, things always take a lot longer than they expect. But that being said, there are newer and newer tools, so something like an upgrade like this could be made easier. Maybe why they didn't announce it in the Eve keynote. I'm just saying, like, that's a wild claim that they're going to be upgrading all of Eve Online to 3.0. I feel like the Eve people were wise to hedge their bets when saying that kind of thing, like as they did. I don't personally expect it within the next year, but we'll see. That's a lofty goal.
Lastly, let's hear from CCP Maximum Cats.
A key part of Frontier is its visual direction. We are descending into a mythical space wasteland where ruins of ancient civilizations stand vigil, baked in radiation. To give justice to this realm, we are updating our graphical capabilities across the board, from shaders through lighting to new post-processing techniques. Sense of scale, cutting-edge sci-fi, and deep immersion are fundamental aspects of the Frontier experience. At its core, sit the
But it is true that Frontiers is running the beta test for the upgraded engine before it comes to EVE Online. I don't know if I, like, as a developer, I kind of rear back at the idea that it is the beta. I will say that the processes and techniques that were built to convert EVE Frontier to 3.0 will be critical to people who are trying to do it to EVE Online, right? Best practices, lessons learned, etc. In fact, as has been suggested in other private chats, you know, the implementation of things like AI to help support code conversion, you know, these are all like it's always easier to do it the second time. That's true. I wouldn't necessarily call it the beta per se, but I get what you're saying.
ships, awe-inspiring starfaring beasts, and a testament to limits pushed in artistry and fidelity. This is supported by a new asset creation pipeline, which ensures that the quality of models and textures is upheld in even the most intimate encounters. In this pursuit, a range of external tools is employed, where we research and develop a selection of bespoke solutions, which are then implemented and refined in the Carbon engine.
Our new tooling systems allow designers and artists to place and fill volumes with ease.
Right? I know, right? Hold on. I'm so glad I wasn't the only one thinking that, AE. Oh my god. Hold on. You're not wrong. I mean, rip. But, like, he looks like the original lead singer for Linkin Park, right? The Slavic Chester. Amazing. Man, I miss him.
Our new tooling systems allow designers and artists to place and fill volumes with ease. They can add generative detail for easy scaling of assets without any loss of fidelity.
It is, so like every single time I hear them talking about EVE Frontiers, there is like on the idea of it being beta tested or whatever, there is a lot of like, it feels like the EVE developers are like, what can we do with EVE if we're not constrained by what EVE already is, right? Like, I get that feeling so much because, like, you go watch the art panel about EVE Online and they're like, man, I wish we could, you know, this is what we're working on. And EVE Frontiers is like, we're doing it, baby.
They gain the ability to plan out sites with a sketch in space.
That's so cool.
And of course, they can easily make changes to existing designs and see it update in real time, all in well-supported industry-standard software.
Reticulating splines.
Once they're complete, thanks to the Carbon conduit, importing this into the client is as simple as clicking a button.
Well, what's even cooler about, what's nice about procedural stuff is like, eventually that stuff can be dynamic and controlled by code. If somebody can draw a line and it knows how to turn that into asteroids, then you can create a program that moves the line based on influences, and that will continue to control the simulation potentially. Like, it's awesome. In before the making of a bunch of dick-shaped asteroid fields. I mean, the Dick Star Nebula, like, it's got to be, it's the universe is full of a lot of things, and I'll be honest with you, it's really easy to make something that looks a little bit like a phallus.
All these improvements to the Carbon platform will help make the Frontier universe more visually stunning, detailed, and immersive than ever before, bringing atmospheric effects like dense fog and real-time ray tracing shadows into the client, giving artists and designers further ways to express their vision.
It is weird where it's like, on the EVE Online side, there's a lot of like, oh man, we're working towards this thing, and EVE Frontiers is like, we're doing this thing. I hear it over and over and over again in these presentations.
Of course, let's not forget the audio, with a new spatial audio system enabling.
This is whoa. This is literally the video that they showed in the EVE Online keynote to show the effectiveness of ray tracing light. Yeah, EVE Online used these videos and kind of inferred that it was like the future of EVE Online, but I thought that the structures looked a little different, right? This is definitely an EVE Frontier structure, but they showed this exact video to show ray tracing in EVE Online.
Bring greater immersion into the soundscape. You'll want to keep sound fully on in EVE Frontier.
That looks fucking cool.
Also, as part of our commitment to open source.
Also, the frontier is not far enough to get away from rooks and kings.
In the Carbon engine, we've made our first step in this direction by fully open sourcing
I've never had the constant warp bug happen in eFrontier.
Our spatial audio technology. This slide is already out of date because they went and released another module after I made this slide like a week ago. So thanks, platform. This work is fundamental in laying out foundations which will benefit eFrontier and EVE Online for the decades to come, taking us further along our journey towards fully open sourcing the Carbon engine and towards EVE forever.
Okay, so now you have seen where we are heading with it, and you'll continue to see more of that. But before we show you what we have been cooking lately and what is upcoming into the game, we want to show you a video to kind of set the tone for the future.
Does this one give me copyright? I don't think so. Hopefully not. We'll find out. Consider becoming a patron or a member, because these musics keep demonetizing my videos. It's the music they use, Malik. So the question is, have they maintained the lore timeline of EVE Frontiers? It keeps hunting back to the back of my mind. This is post-EVE Gate collapse. I am of the strong opinion that EVE Frontier is happening at the same exact time as EVE Online. Now, it's a different Earth colony, or it's a different sequence, like whatever happened to make the Frontier the way it is, there is at least a few clues in the lore that this could be happening at roughly the same time as New Eden. And I believe that part of the whole thing here is that eventually you might be able to infomorph clone jump from one to the other to transfer between games without being able to bring something physically there, because they're so physically distant. But I feel that they have left the window open for these two different universes to be occurring at the same time. Very, very different location. Not Milky Way, not New Eden, not anywhere close to it. So hold on. In the EVE Frontier website, man, we should like get a counter of the amount of times that I say "hold on" during a stream, because like that's where the best stuff comes, right? So if we go to the Keep, I think it is. Keeper? Is it the Keeper? Yeah. The time is wrong. The trinary is not in the correct configuration for a new cycle. Now remember, they call the different versions of the game cycles, and the trinary is the triple black holes at the heart of the cluster. So the idea is that these black holes orbit each other, and every once in a while this creates a stable enough environment for there to be another cycle, right? But this is saying that this is not right for another cycle. Instead, my oblivion is stirred by a distant echo of violence. One of our long-range sensor arrays had felt the murder of a star and the subsequent tremor in the stillness, and carried by the ripples, one simple fragment of music. A technological signature and evidence of a human society somewhere out there. The simulations reconstructing this sparse data into synthetic sphere of a civilization are vague but pregnant with possibilities. A tangle of cultures, politics, and history that is complex yet strikingly familiar. It speaks of empires, corporate behemoths, and expansive spheres blooming into the unknown. A lost tribe capable of great beauty and destruction. A hope. We are not alone after all. Too long the Gate Networks hasn't carried thinking meat through its veins. Too long the trickle of souls was dry. Too long the frontier has lain empty, churned and torn by the fierce tides, a desolate void haunted by traitor automata. Our hecatomb will not be in vain. The decision was made to re-trigger the program. A new crop is gestating. The music, though, if I had tear ducts, I would have wept. The time has never been so right. So the yes, oh no, three-body problem is core and central to this. So the idea is that there was previous empires, and at the last moment, or towards its collapse, a whole bunch of the consciousnesses were basically locked in vaults to be reawoken again when the universe was ripe to be recolonized. And so that's who you are. You're one of these people or consciousnesses or intelligences that have been stored away in mass storage, waiting for the time to be awoken by the Keeper. And this death of a star is suspected by many of us to be well, yeah, because we have consciousness but not memory. Like, we have intelligence but not memory, right? Memories are expensive to keep. So this idea of the death of the star is, like, many people assume that's Caroline Starr, right? the explosion of W477 TAC-P. So that's why I believe that this is happening at the same time as EVE Online. And again, just from an out-of-game perspective, I realized that if CCP ever wants to try to do anything with both of these, they put them physically separated from each other, so you can't bring assets from one to the other, but you could theoretically clone jump from one to the other. And this reminds me of back in the day when CCP was first experimenting with different engines and stuff. Remember when they did a mass test to see if they could with a different engine have thousands of people all interacting in real time with no latency. At the time, CCP Hilmar waxed poetic about what a new engine could do. Things like occlusion in shots, real physics in thrust and maneuvering, etc., etc. But he said that if they were to do that, rather than just flip over New Eden, so it's oh, New Eden has new physics now, they would have an area of space that if you travel to that area of space, you operate in the new physics as a way of kind of introducing it. Maybe fold it into the rest later, but allow both to exist, so that way when you're over here, the new physics operates, and when you're over here, it's still New Eden, it's still the same. And so a lot of us have always thought that's what Jovian space, because at about the same time, that's when they showed off the Prophecy trailer, and we have things like Jove space being highlighted in Inheritance. So I thought that that's where they're going to do. Jove space has now been so catastrophically manipulated by Caroline Starr that when we finally travel there, the physics is all different. So that way they could have their cake and eat it too. But then $50 million of investment opportunity started kicking around in crypto space, and Hilmar had a fateful meeting with that $50 million worth of money and their agents of managers at a GDC, Game Developer Conference. I think it was at a GDC, not a PAX. Either way, they had a meeting, and Hilmar convinced that investment group that he's the guy to make their crypto game. And so he took a lot of his visions for what he wished he could do with EVE but couldn't, because EVE is already what it is, and a lot of the new stuff when it came to crypto and blockchain and all the exciting stuff when it comes to using blockchain as a database, not crypto as in NFTs, the gimmicky stuff that you usually think of when it comes to blockchain, but the actual idea of a public ledger as the central database for a game. And combined those two ideas together, plus $50 million of investment money, and we get Frontiers. So the idea that CCP would eventually create, what I imagine would be, as things start to wake up, the Keeper may encourage the people of Frontiers to develop new methods to reach out to New Eden. And as soon as contact could be made, like I said, if information can pass between New Eden and the Frontier, then characters could transfer as infomorphs, not travel there too far away, but just oh yeah, my Ashtarothi character could literally jump to Frontiers in theory. Not saying that's what they're doing right away, not saying that they've ever announced that whatsoever, but this is piecing together where they could go based on things that they've said about EVE Echoes and their desire for the future of EVE back in 2019. Been thinking about the Prophecy trailer a lot lately. Yes, and that new wormhole to Jove space appearing in the Drifter holes is very interesting. Yeah, the Drifter Nexuses seem to have wormholes to Jove space. So again, if they're planning on working their way to this in 2 or 3 years, you could absolutely see that you could absolutely come to the conclusion that what we're seeing right now are the very beginnings of that happening. Remember, this shit plays out in real time. It's not going to just suddenly be a thing. These are the barest fledgling pieces of what it could grow into. mostly because CCP needs to see whether or not it's successful and worth investing in, right? They did the same sort of like, well, maybe we can merge them together with Echoes, but Echoes wasn't went off in a different direction, and so CCP never really tried to make that work anymore. But here, this is in-house. The chances are, like, it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
Let's fucking go. eFrontier is not for the faint of heart. So if you were afraid watching this trailer, like CCP Jötunn is always, then the eFrontier is not for you. But when you play eFrontier, your mission is to rebuild civilization. The best way to do that on the frontier is to use smart assemblies. This is our take, our moddable, flexible take on base building. So to give you more insight, we have a video here from CCP Lookup.
Players build for different reasons, so we've designed assemblies to reflect exactly that. Whether you're a lone explorer, a community leader, or an industrial mastermind, Frontier's assembly system supports your playstyle. At its core, your assembly is a refuge, a safe haven to rest, recover, and breathe after a hard day's journey. For settlers and communities, assemblies become vibrant villages, shared spaces, equipped with amenities where you can relax, trade, and bond with your tribe. For industrialists, it's all about scale and efficiency, designing expansive factory networks, optimizing logistics, and driving the player-powered economy. Your designs and decisions literally shape the universe.
But remember, Frontier remains a survival game. Every assembly you build must be maintained and defended. From roaming packs of feral...
I just want to point out, like, one of the top comments in this video for this video, and it does have 7 upvotes. I think this is really important. Oh, and there's Jeff right there. This guy says, just want to say, I think you guys are doing a phenomenal good job considering the wicked complexity of this project, including the challenge of co-creating a game with the community, which so far seems to be working out better than expected. And that's honestly the truth of it. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that are saying negative things about it or whatever, but on every level, it looks like this game is doing pretty well. And the people that are engaged, there's lots of people that are hating on it. There's tons of people that are like, oh my God, you're trying to sell us a game that's under NDA, blah, 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 blah. Like there is plenty of things to be concerned about or whatever. Oh, it's a blockchain game or whatever. But in general, the people that are engaging with it are having a hell of a time doing it. And seem to be enjoying themselves quite a bit. It isn't for everybody, but like I said, like internally, the people that are in it are really, really in it. In spite of the fact that everything they're doing right now, they know is just going to get wiped. It's getting to the point that there are 2 different games that will have different player bases with some overlap. No Man's Sky and Eve didn't directly affect each other too much, as an example. That is actually a really good point, and it is true. A lot of the people that are getting into Eve Frontiers are actually, you know, for better or worse, from the crypto world or from other places. They're not Eve players that are getting into Frontiers. There's actually a lot of people who are from things like the crypto world, that the idea of like, there's this virtual universe that I can then like grow and build in and like have my own society in. Eve Online, the problem with Eve Online is that society is already established in Eve Online. Everything we do in Eve Online is controlled by the empires on one level or another. Even nullsec is controlled by the rules that Concord dictates to us. The empires come first. We are living in their universe. Eve Frontiers is very, very different in that regard. There is so much less available to us as far as like a foundation, but it is the players'. It's ours. And people are doing some pretty cool stuff with it, but that attracts a very different kind of person who wants to, like, not a very different kind of person, but definitely a different kind of person who is interested in making something in this virtual universe in a way that EVE Online touches on tangentially, but doesn't quite get to the heart of in the way that EVE Frontiers does.
Drones to opportunistic players looking for their next big score. What truly sets Frontier apart is our customizable logic for structures. Players have surprised us time and again, transforming simple storage containers into interactive vending machines, or build elaborate, fully functioning king-of-the-hill arenas, complete with enrollment systems and live score tracking. Every week, our community astonishes us with new ingenious creations, and we can't wait to see what happens when even more players get their hands on it. At the core of your base is the network node. As a hub, it provides these centralized points of control for your base and all active structures in it, powering them and allowing detailed management of the resources in your base. Managing your base on industry systems is intuitive with a totally reworked user interface. The interface is modular, allowing customization and expansion to suit your needs. Moving all manufacturing away from stations and into your own constructible base building structures emphasizes our commitment to deliver a survival experience.
That's going to be, that is honestly, so my biggest complaint so far about EVE Frontiers is the fact that shipbuilding past a certain threshold, which is a very low threshold, basically anything destroyer above, requires specific stations. And so this open world possibility really becomes condensed down to ownership of these particular stations, or control over the area around it. Obviously, that's a temporary situation, and they're working away from it. That is going to be an exciting revelation, threshold point for me.
Our intention is that survivals will become stations will become town squares, where everyone brings their products to trade, and not where they are safely made.
You can do it in a printer L now? I'm fucking in! Let's do this!
From a small portable refinery and your first simple manufacturing setup to a complex automated industrial hub featuring crude lifts, defenses, automated storage, and manufacturing.
I definitely appreciate that you might not want to be part of the carving process, but joining a living civilization can be really cool too. We'll get there, don't worry.
These are all steps along the journey to building the infrastructure backbone of the frontier itself. Speaking of...
Honestly, like I said, we've gone in and we've explored it, and we're playing with the tools, but much like, say, the opportunities window, or not, like the freelance jobs, we're able to look at it and be like, oh, this has a lot of potential. We have some ideas about it. We've brainstormed ideas about it, but it's not quite all of the pieces that we need in order to do what we want. So per se, that being said, we have talked about joining other organizations, at least for now. So yeah, but I mean, the other thing is that EVE Online itself has been so exciting recently that is the time-consuming thing. EVE Frontiers right now is something to monitor, at least for me and for us, more than actively engage in. That said, as I said, there's lots of people that are actively engaging in it right now on the Discord and such. Keep trying to recruit me.
Construction,
I don't know why.
Virtual worlds have long explored how various forms of matter, such as minerals, can be transformed into other forms of matter, like spaceships. This process, seen in games from EVE Online to Minecraft, is typically governed by blueprints or recipes, sometimes influenced by time, waste, or probabilistic outcomes. In EVE Frontier, we take this further by introducing energy as a core concept, bringing the world closer to E equals mc squared holding true. By embedding the laws of thermodynamics where energy is conserved and entropy is maximized, we establish a foundation that allows for greater freedom and innovation in the world's evolution. Virtual worlds have progressed eons in just a few decades, and we believe their continued evolution should increasingly be governed by a set of immutable principles, much like our material world, and we collectively call these digital physics. All entities on the frontier are beholden to these digital physics of the world itself. All game activity exists upon these immutable digital laws. Through the use of cryptographic technologies and techniques, these digital laws are not merely theoretical, Much like the real laws of physics, they are provably and consistently enforced upon all entities and interactions within the world forever.
Honestly, TL, that's absolutely doable now. The amount of like hostility in the game, you'd be surprised how easy it is to just find your own spot and start building up something.
The energy derived from fuel is the lifeblood of your endeavors. Every movement, every action, every construction consumes energy. Fuel products are refined from crude matter extracted from the enigmatic rifts scattered across the galaxy. Managing your energy isn't just strategy, it's survival. Heat brings real consequences to your decisions. Inspired by thermodynamics, Frontier introduces a temperature system where your actions and the environment around you directly influence your ship's heat levels. The space environment can make cooling challenging, forcing you to strategically manage your heat to avoid vulnerability. Scanners can detect heat signatures, meaning a ship overheating or a large active base is an easy target, visible across vast distances to both other players and hostile feral drones. Conversely, maintaining low heat will let you hide effectively, introducing strategic depth to stealth and reconnaissance.
That sounds
In Frontier,
so cool.
The ability to effectively mask your heat signature
Running cold? I can't wait to say that.
could be the difference between life and death. Occlusion, too, plays a significant role, adding major gameplay implications and transforming how you perceive and navigate the universe. It creates a more intimate, personal experience. You're not commanding fleets remotely, you are piloting your own ship, directly engaged in your destiny. The age-old tactics of overwhelming opponents by sheer numbers, known as N+1, is obsolete. Success in Frontier comes down to skillful heat management, clever navigation, and strategic use of environmental cover. Frontier's navigation layer emphasizes information asymmetry. You only perceive what your immediate environment reveals. Rather than omniscient maps, your awareness relies on careful observation and tactical exploration. This limited visibility shapes every decision, creating suspenseful encounters and rewarding strategic positioning. Welcome to a universe where your decisions generate tangible impact and strategic depth, challenging you to survive, thrive, and dominate. Of course, in Frontier, the universe isn't just waiting for players, it's actively evolving around you. We made major changes to our physics engine, bringing it more real time, and we're up to 4 Hertz tick rate right now, and we have the occlusion-based feature, where if you want to shoot at something and it goes behind something else, you can no longer hit it.
4 Hertz tick rate means that basically Eve Frontiers updates 4 times more than Eve Online does, right? Like Eve Online, you can only take 1 action per minute, or second rather. It's why like when you turn off a module, sometimes it'll spin around like a part of the way and then cut back. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of little nuances that the 1 second tick rate of Eve Online affects. That means that this has a 1/4 second tick rate. So things are calculated 4 times faster in Frontiers than Eve Online.
Sounds simple, but it's a massive...
Faster is the wrong word. More frequently. They're calculated 4 times more frequently.
The gameplay changing thing. One of the other key ways that this is happening is through dynamic sites. Locations crafted by NPCs that grow, thrive, or even fail as you explore. Each site emerges organically, driven by the Frontier's inhabitants. As players discover these locations, they find them being actively constructed and expanded over time, creating a sense of a truly living universe. For more, we go to CCP Brooder.
These dynamic sites aren't just set dressing. They're interactive and destructible. Players face a compelling choice. Nurture the site patiently for maximum rewards, or raid it early for immediate gain.
Eve Echoes actually did this pretty interesting. Because there was like, so there are some of the best pieces for like the things that are needed for like inventing ships or constructing ships. If I remember correctly, there were like these outposts, and the outposts, if they're left alone, they'll grow up over time and will spawn additional sites. So there are people that want to run them so that way they can get the valuable pieces to be able to build ships. But then there are other people that want to cultivate them so that way they can get the even better stuff and the secondary sites and stuff. So it was a cool concept. I have no idea where it went with Eve Echoes. I haven't been paying that attention to Eve Echoes. I think they got rid of those. Yeah, probably. But I think that this is a great place for that kind of idea. I thought it was the data cores, wasn't it? It was the data cores, I thought, that you had to wait, like you had to build up the outposts for. Either way. The point is that this is not a new concept for EVE Online or the EVE universe, but I like it. I don't think that this is live in EVE Frontiers, but yeah. Again, I haven't paid that much attention to EVE Frontiers in the last cycle either, so it may be.
Allowing a site to fully mature can yield far greater rewards, providing strong incentive for nearby players to defend and nurture it. But these aren't without risk. Roaming NPCs can influence or even destroy these developing sites, adding yet another unpredictable element to Frontier's dynamic environments. And occasionally, a jackpot variant might emerge, offering exceptional resources and loot for those brave enough to secure it. As these sites approach full maturity, their economic value rises significantly. Becoming prized sources of passive income, this economic potential naturally drives player conflict, encouraging players and...
This is my little rogue drone ant farm. We've I love that idea. I love that idea. You've got your little nurture, you nurture the rogue drones. Maybe even feed it. You have to bring in some stuff and you like jettison it out so that way the rogue drones will like grab it and like do something with it and then leave before they kill you. I love it. Taming the rogue drones, turning them into cattle.
And tribes to risk their hardware to either secure and protect a profitable site or deny rivals access to valuable resources.
In this new dynamic content, reducing the NPC presence at a site lowers its productivity, while unexpected states such as infestation by feral drones introduces additional layers of complexity. Cleansing an infestation does not guarantee a full return to operation, adding another strategic consideration for players. This system is just at the beginning. Our first iteration will establish the core mechanics, with significant plans to evolve complexity and depth as Frontier grows. We're eager to see how your strategies shape, exploit, and adapt to this ever-evolving landscape. Now, we've seen for many years, the part of the game built by us is just a small portion of the world. It extends out in all directions to include things like art, media, stories, meaningful contributions to charities and science across the world, and of course, through third-party development.
Man, now I'm having flashbacks. You guys, who here remembers the movie Batteries Not Included? Where there's like that small community and there's the robots, there's the flying saucer little robots, and they learn and they start like bringing them little broken machines and pieces in order for them to disassemble so that way they can repair themselves and then start building new things. That was a great movie.
Governed by verifiable digital physics, EveNet introduces a persistent and unchangeable foundation beneath everything players build. Think back to Proviblock. They could automate the very Stargate network of their space to follow the rules of their digital civilization. They could build out defenses that respect and protect the not read, don't shoot system totally autonomously. And you could see that, verify that, and you could trust that. At its heart, EveNet is a persistent, verifiable layer of reality that lives beyond any single server. Everything you build, your structures, your mods, your identity, is written on chain. It lives inside the network itself, a shared source of truth in a world that remembers. With constraints come creativity. Our current couple of builders have been innovating.
Wait, what? That? Okay.
On top of EveNet and building tools that bring the frontier to life. The creativity on show continues to amaze and astound us. Wherever your motivation, there is something to be built.
Oh, this area of space where they marked on the map.
Earlier this week, we saw our third hackathon building on top of the World API and the new pod system. In this, we saw teams developing ideas such as automated group visa systems, an in-client link to a Unity game engine responding to actions within the frontier, and a mapping system that was able to verify who first discovered that star system. There's still a lot to be done, and we're excited for the journey ahead and to invite you to join us on it. The Frontier team continues to work hard to bring you these new and exciting features as we aim to craft the ultimate sci-fi experience.
I really want to take
This is just a couple of things now that we are moving into pre-production, taking these for development later this year, and we'll continue to keep founders updated throughout this year with streams and interaction with them. For more, so we're going to have topological fitting, signature and scanning, character progression in a mining overhaul. We're going to continue to develop on our new sites and content. The early experience update, we're going to continue to iterate in base building, and we're going to continue to update the UI and the control system. However, for more on the long-term creative vision, let me invite our creative director, CCP Maximum Cat, to the stage.
So,
here we go.
So what do we have? We have a hypothesis. It's a hypothesis for a next-generation virtual world. This hypothesis is shaped by a lot of time. It's shaped by over 20 years of discovery without experience with EVE Online. And we call it a virtual world specifically because at this point it goes a little bit beyond what we could call just a computer game. It's a world that is developed by its inhabitants and in real time, within a framework of consistent digital physics.
I know, right?
And
I'm having difficulty.
As you could see, drowning in this crushing atmosphere of an unforgiving sci-fi experience. It's an experience of a descent into this ancient world of decaying ruins, lost technologies, and these Lovecraftian madness-inducing mysteries, with this deep sense of vast forces moving, deep under the surface beyond what are the limits of human comprehension. It is a haunted world. It is haunted by a machine shadow of extinct humanity. This shadow reacts violently to the missteps of whoever is trespassing.
But in the end, does it really matter?
At the feet of its towering hostile leviathans. And it is on us to create its foundations, the survival mechanics, the ship simulation, the audiovisual immersion, and the vast star systems, and all of these foundations that are necessary to make it fair, extendable by the builders, and importantly, unsolvable. It needs to be unsolvable to an extent where the only way for its inhabitants to avoid destruction is to do the rest of it, is to mod their way out of it, equipped with the programming building blocks of this post-apocalyptic software engineering simulation. Here, humanity has already lost, and if it is to be reborn, it is only if they will find the ingenuity to do so. And as they do, they are bringing to it much more than we can ever conceive. Bounty systems, logistics systems, intelligence systems, governance, mission systems, secret assassin clubs.
I wonder how much this has influenced CCP's kind of new direction with messaging when it comes to the new player experience. Like, the freelance system was obviously something that they're already working towards with opportunities. But I wonder how much, like, seeing what people have done in Frontiers has caused them to be like, we really, really, really need to focus on players building these pieces, because they're CCP revamping the bounty system will never make a bounty system that's perfect, but giving us the tools to make a bounty system will allow us to make whatever bounty system works and let the most perfect rise to the top for each individual, and maybe even multiple types for different groups.
Automated mining operations, banks, militarized insurance companies, competing security systems driven by third-party reputation systems, completely decentralized market systems with fully realized player-built mechanics, such as mechanics for acquisitions of stock.
Well, all online games, and PvP games in particular, is designed to be free content for the game developers because, people make the content for each other. That is yeah, that's pretty fundamental to making it all work.
For these market systems through missions for individual players. Wild drones spill over from inter-player algorithmic warfare, which creates NPC landscape that we could never ever create it ourselves. And if anything that we saw from our previous hackathons, entire games within a game and probably games inside of those games as well. And hold my slide. And inside of this tangle of individual and collective interests, there is room for you to be many things. But
creates the most sophisticated, complex virtual world and ecosystem ever made. Can't manage a slideshow. I love you, CCP.
But ultimately, you are a survival machine. You are managing the survival of your craft, your body, your mind, your base, your tribe, against the pressures of a hyper-hostile techno-barbarian hellscape, with features like heat management, subsystems damage, positional feeding, infections, and many more that we will provide, forcing you to plan and over-prepare for every expedition into the dark, and only to succumb inevitably. Because this is a world where even if you will find a tribe of your own after making your way to one of these ancient lost cities that are scattered across this universe, even equipped with the furthest possibilities of exotic post-human sci-fi technology, you...
I gotta know, Jeff, are you on a phone, Jeff? Because, like, the A key and the equal sign key are not close to each other under normal conditions.
You'll have to run. You'll have to run and hide, because this is the world that you are not ready for, and you are not ready for what it will become. It's a direct challenge in a way. This is what at one point we were describing this as a spicy wings challenge of a game. This is what it is. This is the ultimate space survival. Massive, multiplayer, and programmable on a single shard. Again, this is not a game. We call it a civilization engine, where societies rise and will inevitably fall under the free reign of decentralization regime, where they're limited only by the immutable digital physics as opposed to artificially pre-existing designs. So no more empires, no masters, no rules. Because to quote Frank Herbert, history is a constant race between invention and catastrophe. And we are here to provide a lot of the latter. And let's see if anyone has enough of the former. Now, please join me in welcoming CCP Yoto.
He even did the scream.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please, CCP Maximum Cats. My God. I know he seems really unassuming, but he's kind of like a hermit on a mountaintop. You just go up there every 7 months, get some sage wisdom, and then he goes back into his cave. It's magnificent. Thank you so much. Yep, this is me again. Hello. You probably wonder how I got here. You've heard a lot today. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. You've heard a lot. So what have we learned? My slides are a little bit different. I hope you can forgive me. Let's talk about what the fuck is Frontier actually. Okay, so the Frontier is limitless potential, right? You are bounded by little more than the tools you can put your hands on and your own imagination. What you choose to do with them is up to you. Form a tribe, build an empire, collapse into ruin. You can search for secrets, uncover mysteries, or fade out into the dark. Seek wealth, seek power, seek authority. Find a place for you and yours and acquire.
I love how chat is just like, they're like, limitless potential. You can do all this stuff. And they're like, yeah, but can we walk around outside of our ship? That's all.
Quiet corner of the galaxy and enjoy the great game of creation spread out around you. The Frontier is also unspeakable danger. The horrors of the old world have not gone away, and they are not asleep. The same forces that drove the forerunners of this galaxy to annihilation lie in wait for you to follow in their footsteps. Beyond those old horrors are new ones. Other riders whose idea of a peaceful universe might not be the same as yours, and who will not hesitate to consign you to oblivion to see their objectives met. What the fuck is Frontier actually? Well, I tell you what, it's also a clean slate. The frontier is clean. The galaxy is vast and full of peril, but the authorities of yesterday have faded away. What stands in front of you now is a choice to build society anew, to reject it entirely, or to do something altogether different. The frontier is also searching for treasure in the dark. With our new mechanics, it's hiding behind the ancient monolith to avoid being detected by an enemy rider. It's raking gunfire across a line of battle against an enemy caught unaware and too close to each other. It's building a metropolis from a single printer and a dream. It's all of this and more. The frontier is also a mystery to unveil.
That's right,
there are
Jeff.
secrets here, old secrets of time gone by and lives long lost. Secrets.
It's a good question. Clean slate for who? Seems like a clean slate for CCP more than anyone.
Secrets of ancient and grand civilizations and the worlds they built. Secrets of empires and ruin. Secrets of people who just wanted to leave something behind. Something that would outlive them. Something that might go on. Something that would carry their name long after the last person who ever spoke it passed into nothingness. The frontier is a story of a sleeping writer, awakening into a world very different from the one they remember. Venturing out from.
I believe that Eve Frontier is happening at the same time as Eve Online, but in a very different place. So this is, civilization that was here has collapsed thousands of years ago, much like Eve Online has, but there's no new empire to have been reborn in the same way that Eve Online has.
The only warmth they have ever known in 10,000 years to brave the endless cold of space and, against all odds, rekindle the spark of humanity. Are they a soldier, a traitor, a builder, a dreamer? Whoever they are you. The frontier is your story to tell. So, nice, what's next? Awesome. So first things first, come check out our latest build of Frontier in the Frontier room and play it for yourself. It's actually right over here. If you want to come check that out, you should. People are very friendly. The machines hopefully are up and running. I haven't checked. I'm supposed to be running that room, but I'm over here instead. So, hey, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. We also are doing a dev Q&A.
No, the Frontier is not the Milky Way.
Later on today at 2 o'clock. This is being run by our own CCP Overload. And you can, I say heckle CCP Kalira about monetary policy, but his thing was yesterday. So I guess instead you can heckle CCP Maximum Cats about literally anything. And also join Founder Access. If any of this has interested you, and I hope it has, we put a lot of work into it. If any of this is interested you, come join our Discord, discord.gg/efrontier. And become a founder. Even if you don't want to become a founder, just hang out in the Discord. There's so much good discourse happening in there. So many people are very cool. We've still got an NDA, though it is a little bit more limited than it has been recently. All you gotta do is sign it. You can get in, talk lore, talk, in-game politics. Just talk shit if you want to. That's fine too. That's what I get paid to do that every single day. It's honestly a pretty great job, if I'm not kidding. And being in a Founder Access program gets you all kinds of cool stuff, including, of course, and say it with me, pictures of my cat. Yes. Yes.
Wow. Nice.
Hell yeah. Okay.
I will say he does have a very, very photogenic cat.
Right now we're in cycle 3. The cycle program is a way for us to do universal wipes every couple months. So that we can test and try new things. We're going to be doing another one here before too long, and every time we need to test something new, we wipe the universe, and we let our players rebuild from nothing. It's been a huge success so far. Our players are so creative. We see things, and I'm not kidding, I said this yesterday during a press interview. We've seen things that our players have built in the span of about a week and a half that rival anything that Maximum Cats can put in a slide deck as concept art. It's actually nuts. Like, I'm not kidding you. These people are crazy. And I hope that you guys are interested and want to be part of this as well. We have a ton of cool stuff coming here in the next couple of weeks and or months. I think I'm getting too close to the monitors. We got a ton of cool stuff coming. I hope you guys will be interested in watching it. We do cool streams. You can check us out at CCP TV or at twitch.tv/CCP. It's a mouthful. We do streams from every so often. You're going to see this face a lot. I'm so sorry. I can't do anything about it. Just made that way. And we're going to do a lot of cool stuff later, too. So please join our Founder Access program, become part of the frontier. And until next time, my friends, we'll see you on the frontier. Thank you.
All right, and I have been Ashrothi. I've been playing this game since 2010. Not that game, but the other game. Talking about since 2012, and I'm here to put even into context for you, my fellow Imperials. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's stream, where we covered the Gammabond, the Gammabond. Wait, that's right? Yeah, the Vagabond. I can't believe that nobody started calling this ship the Gammabond earlier. I'm claiming that. That's mine. But we got through an entire week of the Abyss. 5 fits, 5 weathers. There was something else. 5 episodes. We did it all this week. Thank you guys so much. Next week, we will be covering other mechanics of the game. I think that we'll be doing some Pochvin. Yeah, we'll be doing some Pochvin stuff maybe for some dual standings and looking into how we can better get the salvage necessary to build some Baba Yaga stuff. Make sure to like the stream, share these with your friends. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you have any feedback, please give me comments down below. If you have some ideas for videos, please put them in comments down below. Also, make sure to hop into the Discord. You can consider joining the Convocation of Imperiums, but you don't need to join in order to join the Discord. You can just come, just like Yojin said about his Discord. Come on, hang out, ask questions. We've got friendly people. Not everybody that we get people that hop into voice and hang out with us that aren't in the Convocation. That's perfectly great. We talk about EVE Online, life, the universe, everything, phasmophobia, etc., etc. If you are new to EVE, returning to EVE, or otherwise have not gotten your free 1,000,000 skill points, please use the link down below or in chat in here in a couple seconds. This will give you the referral code of one of the people that help support the channel. Help support the Convocation of Imperians, like all of my staff members and everything. They're on this list, so that way when you click on that link, you get sent to one of their referral codes. You get 1,000,000 skill points. They get, if depending on whether or not you buy Plex or whatever, they get some game time or some Master Arm Cerebral Accelerators. It really helps everybody, helps out, you know, and I wanted to give, it's a way for me to help provide for those who make all of this possible. What? You can't stand listening to people chew. Oh, well, we try to be pretty good about not allowing people to have their mic open. I know I've made mistakes with it too, but people call me out, you know, whatever. Generally speaking, we try to be good on that. Phasmophobia is great. All right. Either way, I've been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden. Until probably next week, I'll see you in space. I don't have any friends, only enemies. No, lazy one, I'm sorry. You're my friend, even if you don't want to be. I'm out! Bye, merch.
Bring on the wrecking machine. every city